What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. 5 milliliters. Chapter 101. Naruto's Oath, the back of the 4th generation. Please subscribe. Uchiha Xiao felt as if there was infinite power surging in her body, and every cell in her body seemed to be cheering for joy. Even the already huge chakra was more full at this time. His chakra amount has increased several times. A Hyuga ninja exclaimed. Hearing his words, all the ninjas felt despair again. Uchiha Xiao's chakra power had already been called a humanoid-tailed beast. Now it has increased several times. Many ninjas cannot even imagine how much chakra there is. Feeling Uchiha Xiao's gradually rising aura, everyone couldn't help but shed cold sweat. Even ninjas with poor perception abilities could feel that Uchiha Xiao's aura was even more terrifying than before. If it weren't for Konoha's good discipline, a large number of ninjas would have turned into traitors on the spot. Uchiha Xiao closed his eyes tightly, feeling the surging power in his body. He can guarantee that his strength now is far greater than before. It's just. He frowned and clenched his fists. He felt that the power in his body, and Rinnegan's power, was not saturated. 21. It was like a marathon. When he thought he would be exhausted after finishing, he discovered that he still had a lot of strength. He could still run another half marathon. It's not developed yet, Uchiha Xiao murmured. If a group of ninjas hear this, they will definitely get a blank stare. Isn't this kind of power fully developed? How far do you want to develop it? Just when everyone's morale was low. Ha! A crisp sound sounded, and everyone turned their attention. I saw Naruto's fists and palms striking each other. There was no look of fear on his face, only unparalleled confidence. Naruto spoke slowly, his voice spreading throughout the audience. Perhaps, this guy was the strongest in the ninja world, but I only know that if we can't stop this guy here, then the village will be destroyed. Naruto continued. Everyone. Behind us is Konoha. I will never allow this guy to step into Konoha. The morale of the surrounding ninjas was very low. After hearing Naruto's words, the expressions on their faces gradually became firmer. Yes, the village is behind them. If they can't stop Uchiha Xiao, the village will be in great disaster. In order to prevent this scene, even if you die, you will not hesitate. Many ninjas have figured this out, and their eyes are firm, revealing a sense of fearlessness in death. The breeze blew Naruto's yellow hair and clothes flying. Kakashi looked at this scene in a daze. Teacher. Jiraiya smiled. He was indeed a father and son, they really looked alike. Itachi also looked at Naruto with some surprise. According to the intelligence, Naruto was just a hot-blooded young man with a low IQ, but now it was really not easy to mobilize the morale of the soldiers with just a few words. Gaara smiled. He had always thought Naruto was very powerful, and now he felt very happy to be able to fight with Naruto. Onoki also smiled. What an awesome kid. Even I, who is not from Konoha, get excited hearing this. Itachi looked at Uchiha Xiao. Thanks to Naruto, his chakra had recovered a little. Although it was not much, it was enough to drive Susanoo for a minute. As long as he could hurt Uchiha Xiao with the 10-fist sword, he could force it. Seal. Itachi walked to Naruto and said briefly, Naruto, cooperate with me later, I have the means to seal Uchiha Xiao. Naruto looked at Itachi. Who are you? Alas, you and Sasuke look alike. Itachi nodded. I am his brother. Naruto's expression suddenly changed. You are the one Sasuke has always wanted to kill. Itachi didn't speak. Jiraiya said next to him. Naruto, Itachi is from Konoha. There are many things you don't know yet, but you just need to know that Itachi is trustworthy. Seeing what Jiraiya said, Naruto nodded heavily. Naruto turned around and looked around, and then asked, why don't you see the thick eyebrow teacher? Hearing Naruto's words, Kakashi's face suddenly darkened. Jiraiya sighed, and then answered Naruto. Might guy, he died in battle. When Naruto heard this, his pupils shrank, and then his face turned painful. If I could have come here earlier, I would have been able to avoid this happening. Jiraiya patted Naruto on the shoulder and said, Naruto, guy burned his life for his companions and the village, and he is the hero of Konoha. Naruto looked at Jiraiya, with tears in his eyes, and then said, I will avenge teacher Thick Eyebrows, and Grandpa 3rd generation. I will also beat Sasuke up and pull him back from Uchiha Xiao. Konoha. Jiraiya looked slightly shocked. You know everything. For the sake of Naruto's training progress, he did not tell Naruto about Sasuke's defection. Naruto nodded. I've known it for a long time, but I know that if I don't get strong power, I won't be able to save Sasuke. Hearing Naruto's words, Jiraiya truly felt that Naruto had grown up. Jiraiya thought silently in his heart. You are already a ninja who can stand alone, Minato. At this time, Naruto said again. Also, Dad is the 4th Hokage. As the son of the Hokage, I will never let my dad's Hokage name be shamed. Jiraiya became even more uneasy. You know this too. Naruto nodded and told Jiraiya what happened in his spiritual world. Jiraiya nodded understandingly. With Minato's talent, it seems like something he could have done. At this time, Onoki suddenly said, This is the end of the 830 chat. Uchiha Xiao's growing momentum has stabilized. Several people looked at Uchiha Xiao. Uchiha Xiao just stood there, exuding an indescribable aura of superiority. Just let me break this guy's face. Naruto shouted. Jiraiya took the lead in launching the attack. He opened his mouth and spat out, and a fireball hit Uchiha Xiao like a missile. Fire style fire bullet. Water style water wave. Uchiha Xiao simply made two seals, and the next second, a water circle appeared around Uchiha Xiao. Then the water circle rose rapidly and turned into a waterspout. The fire bomb hit the waterspout and stirred up a burst of water vapor, but it had no impact on the water style. The waterspout rose high, and then the waterspout suddenly fell in the direction of Jiraiya and others. At this moment, Onoki walked out, rubbing a cube with white light in his hand. Dust escape original stripping technique. Call out. Chen Dun flew to the front of the powerful water wave and quickly expanded into a huge cube. The next second, most of Uchiha Xiao's water wave was broken into atoms by Chen Dun, and the remaining water posed no threat. Uchiha Xiao looked at Onoki and said, very energetic. Onoki felt the full nine tails chakra on his body and smiled. Of course, I can still fight you for 300 rounds. Chapter 102. Xiao's power of stopping time. Please subscribe. Dust escape limited stripping technique. Onoki formed a beam of light, which stretched long and shot toward Uchiha Xiao like a laser. Uchiha Xiao snorted coldly and stretched out his hand. Hungry Kido sealing jutsu seal. A powerful attraction appeared in Uchiha Xiao's hand, and Onoki's powerful blow was absorbed. At this moment, Naruto came to Uchiha Xiao's side at an extremely fast speed. Under the Six Paths mode, Naruto not only became stronger and more chakra spelled, but his speed and power were also greatly increased. Naruto punched out. Uchiha Xiao stretched out his hand to block. Boom. Then, with the blessing of strength and speed, Naruto's fist hit Uchiha Xiao like a violent storm. Although Naruto was blessed in all aspects, after more than 10 rounds, Uchiha Xiao still discovered Naruto's flaws. Although with the blessing, Naruto has become the only person in the game who can use taijutsu to defeat Uchiha Xiao, but in the end, Naruto is still young. At only 13 years old, he does not have high taijutsu skills and combat experience. Not long after the fight, Uchiha Xiao also discovered many flaws in Naruto. Uchiha Xiao pretended to attack, and Naruto quickly blocked it with both hands. At this time, Uchiha Xiao's second punch hit Naruto directly in the stomach. Naruto held his stomach and stepped back a few steps, but quickly regained his balance. Uchiha Xiao narrowed his eyes slightly. This sage of six paths was really generous, it actually improved Naruto's strength so much. At the same time, Jiraiya and others' offensive never stopped. After Kakashi was treated by Naruto's yang power, his whole body was resurrected with full blood. The purple electricity in his hand sent out a strong transmission. Purple lightning. Feeling the edge of thunder and lightning, Uchiha Xiao wanted to retreat, but at this time, he found that there was a thick layer of sand behind him blocking it. In this case, Uchiha Xiao seemed to have no choice but to resist the blow. Uchiha Xiao chuckled. Nice joint attack technique, but you seem to underestimate my eyes. Uchiha Xiao slightly adjusted the chakra, and the Rinnegan light shone. Kakashi held up the purple lightning in midair, and was about to hit Uchiha Xiao. At this moment, Kakashi's figure suddenly moved. Boom. There was a muffled sound, and Kakashi suddenly flew out. He fell to the ground and stood up quickly, but his eyes were full of surprise at this time. Although the attack just now didn't cause much damage, it was really weird. There was no trace of murderous intent, not even the sound of the weapon waving through the air. The only thing Kakashi felt was the pain of being attacked. Kakashi, what was that just now? Jiraiya asked. Kakashi shook his head, and then expressed his feelings just now. Even though Jiraiya is as well informed as he is, he still doesn't know what it is. At this time, Kakashi said, do you remember that we were injured before? It was a bit similar to that one, but this time there was no trace of the attack at all. And this strange attack did not end. At this moment, Onoki was suddenly attacked in midair. A heavy blow hit him in the face. He instantly became confused and fell straight to the ground. Jiraiya hurried over to catch Onoki. Onoki said in surprise, what a weird technique, I didn't even feel a trace of murderous intent. On the other side, Gaara was also attacked. Although the damage he received was not high, he was the most shocked because his absolute defense did not even respond to these attacks. However, absolute defense will indeed cause the attack to be too fast and the reaction not enough, just like Shaoli's attack on Gaara during the previous Chunin exam. But it will definitely not be as unresponsive as it is now. In other words, these attacks will have no trace, just like. It's like an attack from another space. Although Itachi was not attacked for the time being, he also saw what happened to Kakashi and others, and then used the crow clone to retreat to the rear. At this time, everyone discovered that Naruto was still fighting in the front. Naruto, pay attention. Just when everyone wanted to remind Naruto, Naruto suddenly stretched out his hand and seemed to block something. Yes, that's it, Onoki shouted. Naruto, did he see it? Kakashi said in surprise. Itachi immediately used the Sharingan, but even though he raised the Sharingan's perception to its highest level, he didn't feel any trace from Naruto's side, not even a small gust of wind. My Sharingan, I didn't see anything. The always proud Sharingan didn't see anything, and Itachi also felt a little scared. Naruto seemed to have really seen something, and kept punching and kicking the air. After a while, Naruto took a few steps back, as if he was temporarily suppressed by something. Uchiha Xiao also noticed this scene, and he secretly sneered in his heart. The power of 6 paths is really like a bug. Sage of 6 paths also took great pains to deal with me. Jiraiya caught Naruto who was retreating and asked, Naruto, what were you fighting just now? Did you see the target of the attack? Naruto shook his head. I didn't see anything, but I could feel it. I felt something was going to attack me. Short grandpa. Behind you. Onoki immediately turned around and subconsciously stretched out his hand. The next second, a powerful force hit Onoki's hand. Onoki couldn't help but take a few steps back and shook his numb palm. He was a little shocked. If Naruto hadn't reminded him, he would have been knocked unconscious by this strange attack. However, it was then that Onoki woke up as if from a dream. Hey. What is short grandpa? I am Iwagakure's Tsuchikage, 2-day scale Ono. Naruto scratched his head. Iwagakure, where is it? Onoki was almost furious. Iwagakure was the only one among the top 5 ninja villages, second only to Konoha and tied with Cloud Shinobi. This Naruto didn't even know Iwagakure. A drop of cold sweat broke out from Jiraiya's forehead, and then he immediately said to Naruto, Wang Nuo's Naruto, then try to see if you can sense something with your perception ability. Naruto nodded, then closed his eyes and released his penis. Soon, he felt it, and he immediately reported to Jiraiya and others. That thing, what is it called? I seem to sense 4 paths. Itachi asked. Sidao, can you determine what this weird existence is? Naruto shook his head. I don't know. Kakashi's thoughts were whirling, and then he thought of something, and immediately said to Naruto. This way, Naruto, you use Shadow Clone to hold down those weird existences, and then your body comes to join us. Jiraiya's eyes lit up. What a great idea. Itachi also nodded slightly. I agree. Yoshi. Naruto shouted loudly and then formed seals with his hands. Shadow Clone Technique Mania. As white smoke rose, 4 Naruto clones appeared and ran to other places on the battlefield. Chapter 103. Wheel Tomb Border Prison. Please subscribe. Those weird existences and attacks just now are actually Uchiha Xiao's Rinnegan ability. Round Tomb Border Prison. The Ring Tomb Prison is a powerful secret technique. Uchiha Xiao can use his eyes to create 4 powerful shadows. These shadows are immortal and have powerful attack and defense power. They can be used as Uchiha Xiao's shield or as Uchiha Xiao's shield, spear. These shadows cannot be seen or perceived by ordinary people. Only people with Rinnegan can see these shadows. Naruto can sense the existence of shadows because he possesses the 6 paths mode, but Naruto can only stay on the perception aspect. Without Rinnegan, he cannot see the existence of shadows. So for most people, shadow is a very strange means of attack. Uchiha Xiao can split into 4 shadows, and now, all 4 of his shadows have been restrained by Naruto. Jiraiya and others began to quickly approach Uchiha Xiao again. Uchiha Xiao couldn't help but feel a little irritated at this time. The annoying guy is here again. Itachi's chakra was still full at this time, and his eyes were glowing red, and then an orange-red giant began to appear. Hang. Itachi's Susan pulled out the golden sword of 10 Fist. 950 Uchiha Xiao also frowned when he saw the 10 Fist sword. This is the most troublesome thing on the field at present, much more troublesome than Naruto. Several other people also quickly launched an attack. Gaara struck first, he raised his hands, and countless yellow sand covered the sky. Quicksand falls. The yellow sand turned into surging waves, sweeping towards Uchiha Xiao. Uchiha Xiao calmly stretched out his hand. The next second, Huangsha's offensive seemed to be blocked by something, and the attacks bypassed Uchiha Xiao. But it wasn't over yet. Jiraiya formed a seal with his hands, injected chakra and slapped it on the ground. Earth-style yellow senuma. The ground turned into a puddle of mud, Uchiha Xiao's figure suddenly dwarfed, and his feet sank into the swamp. Onoki was not idle either. He slapped the ground with both hands, and there was a sudden vibration around him. Earth-style wall. I saw a crack in the ground with a strange trajectory, and then a hard stone wall rose from the crack. Uchiha Xiao looked around, surrounded by 3 high and hard stone walls, and the only exit was in front. Pocket array. Uchiha Xiao reacted immediately. The pocket formation not only made it difficult for Uchiha Xiao to escape, but also left an exit. If C Bad couldn't be defeated, Onoki Hikihito could also retreat immediately. The corner of Uchiha Xiao's mouth curled up. Onoki deserved to live for so many years, he was indeed cunning. The thousands of ninjas outside also thought that now was the best time to eliminate Uchiha Xiao. Many ninjas flew over and stood outside the exit to prevent Uchiha Xiao from escaping. They also provided cover for Jiraiya and the others. Within the stone wall, Jiraiya and the others faced Uchiha Xiao. Behind Uchiha Xiao was the earth wall. At this moment, he seemed to have become a prey. Uchiha Xiao smiled and said, You are very confident, Onoki. Onoki snorted. Today is your death day, Uchiha Xiao. Uchiha Xiao covered his face and laughed. After laughing, he said, yes, today is indeed the day of my death. Haven't I already died twice? Have you forgotten? Hearing Uchiha Xiao's words, everyone's expressions darkened. Yes, they had witnessed Uchiha Xiao's rebirth twice. They couldn't guarantee that after sealing Uchiha Xiao, he would be resurrected in some strange way. That would be too disappointing. At this time, Onoki played the role of the backbone and said, don't be affected by his words. We just need to do our best now and completely seal this devil. Tang. The 10-fist sword in Itachi Susanoo's hand glowed with fire, as if it had a spirit, and he couldn't wait to seal Uchiha. Uchiha Xiao looked at the orange-red Susanoo. He knew in his heart that the 10-fist sword was the only thing that could threaten him now. What he had to do now was to kill Itachi. With the blessing of Naruto Nine-Tails Chakra, Jiraiya and the others have never been in such good condition, and powerful ninjutsu are directed at Uchiha Xiao. Sand bound. The huge amount of sand just now was still on the ground, and under Gaara's operation, the sand immediately wrapped Uchiha Xiao's body. Jiraiya clapped his hands on the ground. Earth-style Earth Dragon Bomb. An earth-colored dragon head appeared on the swamp. The dragon head opened its mouth, and countless bullet-like mud bombs poured out. These mud bombs had limited damage, but were very sticky, making Uchiha Xiao's entire body muddy. Uchiha Xiao also felt that his actions were greatly restricted. Well played. That's it. Seal him in. When the ninjas outside the field saw this scene, they burst into cheers. Uchiha Xiao's hands were restrained, and he probably couldn't form the seal now. In the eyes of most ninjas, if they cannot form a seal, then the ninja is useless. Uchiha Xiao seemed to have given up resistance. He didn't even move, and even closed his eyes. Naruto laughed and said, Humph. Are you too scared to open your eyes? Onoki looked at Uchiha Xiao. His face was very solemn, and there was a faint uneasiness in his heart. He vaguely remembered that decades ago, Uchiha Xiao was in the same situation as now. Everyone thought that Uchiha Xiao, a ninja cultivator, was finally going to die. Uchiha Xiao used only one move to instantly reverse the original deadlock, and then instantly killed hundreds of ninjas present. That scene was deeply engraved in Onoki's heart. But with the passing of Uchiha Xiao, and Onoki deliberately forgetting Uchiha Xiao for decades, Onoki even forgot what happened at that time. Itachi saw that the 10-fist sword was about to hit Uchiha Xiao. He, who had always been calm, could not hide the excitement in his heart, so he said, rest in peace. Just when the 10-fist sword was about to stab Uchiha Xiao, Itachi saw Uchiha Xiao open her eyes. However, what he saw in his eyes was not Rinnegan, but Scarlet Sharingan, with 3 Magatama congealed into a beautiful geometric pattern. Yu Zhu Ming. At that moment, time seemed to stop. No, time really stopped. Everyone seemed to be frozen. The sky, animals, ninjas, heartbeats, everything seemed to have been pressed on the pause button. But Uchiha Xiao has no problem, he will. Tiantian fist. Raising his fist filled with chakra, Uchiha Xiao chopped Itachi's Susanoo into pieces with one punch, and then Uchiha Xiao took out a black stick and stabbed Itachi into the heart. At this moment, a rapid sound of breaking through the air suddenly came from my ears. Boom. Uchiha Xiao was kicked out by Naruto. At the same time, the suspended time suddenly began to flow, and then Uchiha Xiao landed steadily. The orange-red Susanoo suddenly disappeared, and everyone looked over in surprise. Cough. Cough. Itachi coughed up strings of blood beads from his mouth, and a black stick stuck straight into his chest. Everyone knows that the black stick is Uchiha Xiao's attack method, but how is it possible? Itachi was clearly attacking, and Uchiha Xiao had nowhere to dodge and was already in a deadlock. How could such a bizarre scene happen? Chapter 104. Ashura's Power of Reincarnation. Please subscribe. In the eyes of all ninjas who were caught in a time pause, the scene just now looked like this. Just when the 10-fist sword was about to strike Uchiha Xiao's figure suddenly disappeared, followed by a loud noise, and Itachi's Susanoo was inexplicably broken and dissipated. Uchiha Itachi covered his chest and inserted a black rod straight into his heart. It could be seen from Itachi's expression that he didn't notice anything about it. Then there was an air explosion, and Naruto inexplicably appeared in the air and kicked Uchiha Xiao, and then Uchiha Xiao landed firmly on the ground. This scene is really too weird, so weird that it's terrifying. It's like a complete video, and then an evil person cut a knife in the middle of the video, causing a section of the complete video to be missing. At this time, Naruto said to the people around him in confusion, why didn't everyone move just now? I didn't even try to save brother Itachi. Jiraiya and others looked at each other and didn't move. What does this mean? Jiraiya shook his head and said, I don't understand what you mean, Naruto. We didn't see why Itachi was stabbed suddenly. Naruto opened his eyes and was about to say something. At this time, Shikaku walked forward and asked Naruto, Naruto, can you tell me what you just saw? Naruto said, I saw brother Itachi and you suddenly stopped moving, and then that guy broke brother Itachi's outer protection with his fist, and then went in and hurt brother Itachi. I couldn't get angry, so I went over and gave him a kick. At this time, Naruto showed an incomprehensible expression. Well, then, everyone was suddenly able to move again. Everyone looked at Uchiha Xiao. Naruto's kick did not cause much harm to Uchiha Xiao. Jiraiya looked at Uchiha Xiao cautiously and said, "Is it an illusion? I just saw him using Sharingan." He remembered that when the Ten-Fist Sword was about to hit, Uchiha Xiao's eyes flashed a red light. Shikaku's eyes flashed, and he opened his mouth. Just as he was about to express his speculation, Onoki suddenly exclaimed, "Time stops." Lu Ju was stunned for a moment, and then said, "Yes, I also think this is the ability to stop time." Time stops. Is there such a technique in this world? Everyone looked at Onoki, wondering how he knew it was. Onoki swallowed his saliva and said, "More than 50 years ago, Uchiha Xiao fought against a family's elite force. There were hundreds of people in that force, and Uchiha Xiao was forced into a desperate situation. Then, a trace of panic flashed in Ananomu's eyes. Then there was a scene like the one just now. Uchiha Xiao's figure suddenly disappeared, hundreds of ninjas were suddenly fatally injured, and their blood bloomed like a huge flower in an instant. Everyone broke out in cold sweat after hearing Onoki's description. Time stops, are you kidding me? Why is there such a technique in this world? For a powerful ninja, even 1 second can be a life-saving second or a fatal second. Not to mention a figure like Uchiha Xiao who stands at the top of the ninja. Even though all the ninjas couldn't believe it, the fact is here. Uchiha Xiao relied on time stop to hurt Itachi. At this time, Itachi was lying on the ground not knowing whether he was alive or dead. Everyone fell into panic. At Uchiha Xiao's speed, even if time stopped for only a few seconds, it would be enough to kill Jiraiya and the others. At this moment, Naruto shouted, "What are you afraid of? Since I can still move, it means that stopping at a certain time is of no use to me." Jiraiya said, "But it will be difficult if Naruto is alone." However, Naruto smiled and said, "Who said there is only one person?" Everyone looked sideways, and Jiraiya asked, "Naruto, what solution did you come up with?" I saw Naruto grinning and forming seals with his hands. Multiple shadow clone technique. After saying that, thousands of shadow clone appeared around, and then thousands of shadow clone shouted in unison, "There is more than one person." Each shadow clone quickly dispatched, and one shadow clone was responsible for docking with a ninja. The entire battlefield suddenly turned into a bright yellow, and there was a Naruto standing next to each ninja. "I will protect everyone well." Thousands of clones shouted in unison. Although it was noisy, it gave thousands of ninjas a great sense of security. "Thank you, Naruto. Naruto, thank you, I'm sorry about what happened before. Naruto, I will definitely vote for you to be the Hokage in the future." The ninjas all thanked Naruto sincerely, and many of Naruto's clones blushed shyly. Jiraiya and Kakashi were both stunned, and then looked at each other and laughed. They had not thought of such a simple method. "Please give me flowers." Onoki also looked at Naruto with admiration and said, "Naruto, your dream is to become a Hokage, right? I believe you can do it." Naruto raised his thumb and said, "Yeah, I will definitely become a Hokage. Thank you." Shorty is making trouble. Upon hearing Naruto's words, Onoki's face changed instantly. "You told me I am Tsuchikage. Not a short grandpa." Jiraiya looked at the backs of Naruto's guardians and was very pleased. "Minato, I really hope you can see this scene and see Naruto who sincerely protects the village." Kakashi was also a little relieved. The figures of Might Guy and Obito overlapped with Naruto's figure again, and then the figures of Might Guy and Obito disappeared again. Kakashi thought to himself, "Naruto, you will definitely be able to live your own life." At the same time, Uchiha Xiao was also sizing up Naruto. Uzumaki Naruto was the first person to be able to escape the time-stopping effect of Yuzu's life. All we can say is it because of the power of 6 paths? Although Uchiha Xiao's Yuzu life is the ability of Mangekyō Sharingan, in the final analysis, Sharingan is an extension of Rinnegan and will naturally be affected by the power of 6 paths. Seeing Uchiha Xiao looking at him, Naruto immediately put on a wary expression. Naruto can now feel the good and evil of others. He felt a trace of extremely sharp malice from Uchiha Xiao, which made Naruto very uncomfortable. Uchiha Xiao sneered and mocked. As expected of Ashura, the way to become stronger is terrifyingly easy. If you die, you can be resurrected and gain the same power as me. But I have gone through hardships to gain this power. Naruto said unhappily. My power is to protect the entire ninja world, not to cause destruction everywhere. This is the hope lent to me by Grandpa's 6 paths, and I don't care about Ashura, I only know that I am Uzumaki Naruto. Then Naruto looked into Uchiha Xiao's eyes and said, and Grandpa's 6 paths said that your eyes are more dangerous than Kagaya. I will definitely defeat a dangerous person like you. Hearing this sentence, Uchiha Xiao raised his eyebrows slightly. His eyes were more dangerous than Otsutsuki Kagaya's. This allowed Uchiha Xiao to further verify his conjecture. It seems that the potential of his eyes has not been fully developed. The Rinnegan itself can be further upgraded, this feels right. Chapter 105. Suzunata Buddha. Please subscribe. Uchiha Xiao, while thinking about her Rinnegan, followed Naruto's words and retorted. There is no point in protecting the ninja world. Only absolute violence can create peace. Naruto obviously disagreed, and he shouted, no matter what, protecting is far more meaningful than destroying. Uchiha Xiao smiled. Protect. Do you also want to protect the filth in your ninja world? Do you also want to protect the bad roots that are deep-rooted and difficult to remove? Do you also want to protect the murderer who killed your parents? Naruto's eyes widened and his expression suddenly changed. Does this Uchiha Xiao know anything? When Jiraiya and others saw Naruto's expression, they immediately felt something bad. Naruto is a person who can easily infect others with his emotions, but he himself is also easily infected by emotions. And if you master absolute violence, then all these evils can be eliminated, and the entire ninja world can be as clean as a blank sheet of paper. When the 237 comes, you can fill it with whatever colors you want. What color should I put on? Uchiha Xiao's voice seemed a little bit infectious. Naruto frowned and shook his head. The ninjas around him looked at Naruto nervously, fearing that Naruto would just listen to Uchiha Xiao's lies. Uchiha Xiao is also a little incredible. It is incredible that she can say so much to Naruto. Is it because Naruto is the protagonist of the manga? Uchiha Xiao looked at Naruto and said, okay, let me show you the power of ultimate, let you see how I clean up the ninja world. After speaking, he clapped his hands. Sage art true several thousand hands. The originally broken earth churned again, and a wooden Buddha head rose from the ground, followed by the Buddha's body and thousands of eye-shaped wooden arms. Coming again. Damn, it's this technique again. Uchiha Xiao showed a rather crazy smile and said, it's not over yet. This was an idea he just came up with, and his eyes turned red. Susanoo. True several thousand hands. Then, a scene that shocked everyone appeared. I saw a burst of red chakra wrapping the Avalokitesfera statue, followed by flesh, armor, and the Wadingu mask on the head of the Avalokitesfera statue. The red light spread all over the colorful Avalokitesfera statue. This makes the entire Guanyin statue look full of evil, as if it is a Guanyin fallen into hell. Onoki also has a dark face. This Uchiha Xiao has been making strange moves, and every move can make people feel desperate. The tall figure blocked the sun, and the ninjas on the battlefield felt trapped in a shadow called Uchiha Xiao. Become a Buddha on top. Uchiha Xiao gave the order, and the thousands of giant hands behind were also buffed with red by Susanoo. Senju aimed at the ground, his palms turned into fists, and each fist cut through the sky. The people below only felt a fierce roar above. Naruto shouted, I told you, I will protect everyone. After saying that, all the shadow clone that had just been separated stretched out their hands, and along with a swirling whirlwind, a burst of blue light appeared on their hands. Then the light suddenly became bigger. Big ball Rasengan. Thousands of Naruto's hands rolled a huge ball and blasted it to the top to transform into a Buddha. Boom, boom, boom. There were violent roars in the midair, accompanied by streaks of bright blue light. This made it difficult for people to see the situation on the field clearly, and also caused most ninjas to make a strategic retreat. Huge wooden hand remnants are also falling from the sky. If they hit a person, they will not die. Even ninjas who are willing to fight will have to retreat. Naruto's body frowned in midair. Although he knocked down a lot of wooden hand fragments, he knew that it was only a small part. Most of the fists did not break through the protection of the armor. But he doesn't have many shadow clones at this time. A single punch from his wooden hand will probably scatter several of them at once. However, if it were true several thousand hands, Naruto might really be able to fight, but this is true several thousand hands with the blessing of powerful equipment. Susanoo's complete form is known as the strongest defense, wood style and Susanoo family. The powerful equipment greatly improved the defense and attack power of true several thousand hands. Naruto could only watch helplessly as his shadow clone was decreasing little by little. At this moment, Naruto suddenly felt a strange feeling in his heart. At this time, voices appeared in Naruto's mind. This Susan is undoubtedly Uchiha Xiao. It's really him. Why Senju Hashirama's true several thousand hands? Naruto covered his head and shouted, who the hell are you? Get out of my head. At this time, Nine Tails' voice came out. The owners of these voices, like me, are also tailed beasts. They are 6 tails, 7 tails, 8 tails. Naruto was dumbfounded. Then why do you want to stay in my head? The more calm 7 Tails Chome spoke. You just met the old man, right? It's Sage of 6 Paths. Naruto was stunned for a moment and nodded. 7 Tails continued. In short, the old man found us and asked us to lend you the chakra. 6 Tails spoke with a slightly dissatisfied voice. If you hadn't been fighting Uchiha Xiao, I wouldn't have lent it to you. 8 Tails said. Naruto, I hope you can use this to defeat Uchiha Xiao. This demon used to enslave us to do bad things. Hearing 8 Tails' words, Naruto was immediately filled with indignation. Okay. Let me beat him up. At this time 9 Tails spoke. Are you done talking? Get out of here as soon as you finish talking. It's obviously very crowded here. 6 Tails said harshly. Haha, Kurama, you should let Uchiha Xiao practice your bad character. 9 Tails was immediately anxious. Seiken. Fight with me if you can. Let's see who wins and who loses. 8 Tails said. Everyone should say less. Naruto grabbed his hair hard with his hands several times, and then shouted, "No." In an instant, many voices disappeared from Naruto's head. At this time, Ninetales' voice came out. "Not bad, kid, drive them all away." Naruto was slightly startled. "I drove you away." Ninetales' voice continued. 2.8 Don't talk so much, just feel the chakra in your body. Naruto felt it, and he found that there were 3 more powerful and unique chakras in his body. If it were an ordinary person, with 3 extra tailed beast chakras, this would directly torture a person to death, but with Naruto's power of 6 paths, he could accept these chakras unconditionally. Feeling the majestic aura on his body, Naruto raised his arms and shouted, "Yoshi." Then they formed seals with their hands, and more than a dozen shadow clones appeared immediately. They all stretched out their hands, first with the ordinary Rasengan, and then with the chakra of the Jupiter constellation technique integrated into the exorcism. As Six Tails chakra was incorporated, Rasengan's color changed to cyan, and then Naruto injected Wind Style's chakra into it. Lava Style. Spiral Shuriken. A dozen huge Rasenshuriken appeared in Naruto's hands. Chapter 106. Raikage Rescue. Please subscribe. The real body Naruto also stretched out his hand, but he did not choose to condense Lava Style. He had a bold idea in his mind. He stretched out his hand to condense the chakra, and saw the red and blue chakra quickly blending together, and the color slowly turned purple. It contains 4 different powerful chakras, 6 tails, 7 tails, 8 tails, 9 tails, mixed with Naruto's own chakra. Soon, a black sphere appeared in Naruto's hand, which was the tailed beast bomb composed of 4 tailed beasts. Naruto looked at the tailed beast bomb in his hand. Even though he had rubbed it himself, he still felt a sense of fear in his heart. Without him, he felt the terrifying aura from the tailed beast bomb. However, Naruto still added wind style chakra to this tailed beast bomb. Wah, wah, wah. A harsh sound sounded, the wind blade rotated next to the tailed beast bomb, and Naruto raised his head and looked at the hundreds of huge arms. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. First, the clone's lava-style spiral shurikens, which were incorporated into the Six Tails chakra, were filled with extremely corrosive properties. The very hard Buddha's hands that were originally wrapped in awe-inspiring armor were instantly melted one by one. A dozen spiral shurikens spread out in all directions, cutting the Buddha's hand as wide as possible. Ka 21. Sorry. Countless Buddha's hands turned into a melted state and fell to the ground one after another. Seeing that the number of Buddha's hands had dwindled, Naruto looked at the whirring-tailed beast bomb in his hand, and then he looked at Uchiha Xiao standing on top of the Buddha's head. Naruto yelled, "Tailed beast bomb, spiral shuriken." He threw the spiral shuriken away with all his strength. Uchiha Xiao also noticed something was wrong. He controlled the Buddha's hand to block the lone spiral shuriken flying over. However, this spiral shuriken is very special. Once the Buddha's hand touches it, it will be smashed into sawdust. Hundreds of Buddha's hands did not hinder the progress of the Rasenshuriken at all. Finally, tailed beast bomb spiral shuriken hit true several thousand hands. A dazzling white light was seen, and then a round ball of flames suddenly appeared and expanded rapidly. When it could no longer expand, the flames exploded. Boom! The huge roar echoed for more than 10 miles around. Standing on the Buddha's head, Uchiha Xiao felt a shaking under his feet, like a big earthquake. Uchiha Xiao tapped his toes and flew out of true several thousand hands Buddha head. He looked back at the area where true several thousand hands was attacked. I saw that a large pothole had appeared on true several thousand hands body, accounting for almost 1/3 of true several thousand hands' body. There were bursts of flames burning in the pothole. Uchiha Xiao said, "This chakra is interesting." Soon, because a large piece was missing, the entire true several thousand hands collapsed due to uneven stress. At this time, all the ninjas below had already run away, and true several thousand hands fell straight to the ground. There was another huge roar, and in an instant, dust was flying and rocks were flying. Uchiha Xiao's perception ability is not limited. He sensed the breath of 6 tails all the way to 9 tails in the explosion just now. He couldn't help but clicked his tongue. Naruto was sitting on the ground and cheating again and again. It must be Sage of 6 Paths who was doing it again. Uchiha Xiao fell directly to the surface. He looked everywhere and sensed Naruto's chakra with his perception ability. Naruto does live up to the title of the most unexpected ninja, even Uchiha Xiao wants to fix him. At this time, Uchiha Xiao noticed a powerful aura rushing towards him. When Uchiha Xiao turned his head away, the breath had already flown to him. Lightning-style lateral bolt of pain. A hand knife was wrapped in strong lightning, turning into a stream of light and slashing at Uchiha Xiao. Facing this sudden blow, Uchiha Xiao's face was calm, and he calmly stretched out a finger. Boom! A powerful airflow exploded between the knife and fingers, and the enemy and the soles of Uchiha Xiao's feet exploded with ferocious cracks due to this blow. Hand, finger. The enemy's face turned ugly. When he was in the dirt, Uchiha Xiao could resist Kisami's Samahata with his fingers. Now that his strength has increased 5-fold after resurrection, Uchiha Xiao really doesn't know who else can surpass him in physical skills. Uchiha Xiao looked at the enemy's face and showed a look of contempt. looking at your skin color, you must be Raikage. Guikun's shadow is still as weak as ever. Uchiha Xiao was naturally referring to the generation of Raikage who was killed by him. Ina couldn't bear this anger. He put down his knife, then jumped up high, and the lightning focused on his feet. Guillotine drop. The foot slashed downwards, the lightning wrapped around the rapid afterimage, and hit Uchiha Xiao's Tianling cap fiercely. Boom. The strong impact stirred up a circular shock wave, and Uchiha Xiao's hair was blown to pieces, but he still showed a confident smile, and the one finger on his hand turned into 2 fingers. This move is good, it actually made me use my middle finger. Uchiha Xiao's words drifted into Ai's ears. I had a bad temper, but Uchiha Xiao's repeated sarcasm made him even more angry. At this moment, a shout came from the side. Uncle Hey, get out of the way. I immediately dodged and Uchiha Xiao looked over, only to see the lava-style spiral shuriken coming towards him quickly. Uchiha Xiao stretched out his hand. Hungry Kido sealing jutsu seal. The spiral shuriken stopped in Uchiha Xiao's hand, and then disappeared immediately. Naruto looked surprised when Uchiha Xiao rushed in front of Ai and Naruto at extremely fast speeds. Bang, bang, a double dragon shot out of the sea, and Ai and Naruto flew out. The 2 figures flipped around in midair, and then hit the ground hard, and even the ground was cracked. Naruto and Ai stood up. They were fine. Naruto was blessed by the power of 6 paths, and Raikage had also trained his body and lightning-style armor to a certain extent. At this time, Onoki flew to Ai's side, and he said leisurely 030, Master Raikage, you came too slowly. Jiraiya and others also rushed here. When they saw the shadows from Cloud Shinobi Village coming, they couldn't help but feel happy. A shadow is a powerful fighting force. Defeating Uchiha Xiao gives more hope. However, I didn't say anything. His face was gloomy, and he seemed to be in a very angry state, panting, like a furious bull. At this time, Uchiha Xiao slowly walked over. When he saw Uchiha Xiao, I finally couldn't help it. Uchiha Xiao. The 2 wooden golem, Karui and Omoi, as well as countless Cloud Shinobi ninjas, appeared in Ai's mind. Without him, Uchiha Xiao killed too many Cloud Shinobi people. Ai, who was already grumpy, became extremely jealous when he saw Uchiha Xiao. Uchiha Xiao looked at Ai with a dull expression, and he said calmly, the last person to shout at me with such a loud voice was Raikage. Hearing that Uchiha Xiao was once again rude to Raikage, I couldn't bear it. He turned into an afterimage and appeared next to Uchiha Xiao. So fast. Although they were troubled by Ai's disobedience, Kakashi and the others were still shocked by Ai's speed. Raikage Ai is a guy who has developed ninjutsu to ultimate, and lightning-style cell activation has been developed to ultimate, which makes his speed second only to Namikaze Minato. Heavy flow storm. I gathered the lightning-style chakra on his elbow, and with thunder, he hit Uchiha Xiao's head hard with his elbow. Chapter 107. Sage of 6 Paths. Does this really exist? Please subscribe. Facing this violent blow, Uchiha Xiao was very calm. He raised his hand with just 1 finger. Boom. The electric current escaped in the air, and the surrounding dust was blown away by the violent wind. Uchiha Xiao said calmly, I've given you 3 moves, so it's up to me to take action next. Quote exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark quote. I stared at Uchiha Xiao angrily. If looks could kill, Uchiha Xiao would probably be riddled with holes. Uchiha Xiao continued to speak slowly. Since you are a movie, I will use lightning style to retaliate to you. As he spoke, Uchiha Xiao stretched out the finger that had just resisted Ai's attack. Just when I wanted to yell at Uchiha Xiao, don't look down on others. There was a strange noise, and a blue light appeared on Uchiha Xiao's finger, and an airflow appeared around it. The airflow rotated and gathered on the finger. This belongs to father. Ai's eyes widened angrily, looking at Uchiha Xiao with eyes full of disbelief. A finger shines with astonishing lightning, emitting a powerful force that cannot be blocked. Isn't this the famous stunt of third Raikage, the Japanese technique? Although I don't know where Uchiha Xiao learned this trick from, the reputation of Ipponcho made Ai furious, and even he had to be cautious. The most powerful spear of the third Raikage is Ai's father. It is known as the strongest spear that can penetrate all things. When Eight Tails was in chaos, the third Raikage's Ipponcho directly cut the body of Eight Tails. Penetrate. With such strength, although Ai doesn't know how much Uchiha Xiao can perform as third Raikage, he must be prepared. Lightning-style armor. A powerful aura erupted from Ai's body, and his golden back stood up into the sky, with lightning-style chakra floating around his body. Come on. The strongest spear versus the strongest shield. Who wins in the end? Onoki and the others couldn't help but sweat as they watched the confrontation between the two. Although they knew how powerful Uchiha Xiao was, lightning style was indeed Raikage Ai's master, and they had never seen Uchiha Xiao use lightning style. The two used lightning style to confront each other, and the group was really hard to judge for a while. Uchiha Xiao kept a faint smile, and the dazzling light gathered on one finger, and a single finger burst out with a shocking momentum. For a moment, everyone present was shocked. Uchiha Xiao stretched out her hand and put her fingers on Ai's lightning style armor. Ding! A bit of dazzling light bloomed on Ai's lightning style armor, and then the light became bigger and bigger. Ai's face suddenly changed, and he could clearly feel that the lightning-style armor on his body was shaking violently. Wah, what? However, before I could be surprised, waves of strange sounds reached his ears. Click, click, bang. The lightning-style armor burst into cracks and turned into fragments on the ground in an instant. Whoosh. I moved. The moment the lightning-style armor broke, I did not hesitate, mobilized Chakra's entire body and immediately fell backwards. He instantly understood at that moment that there was a huge gap between his strength and Uchiha Xiao's. However, Uchiha Xiao had no intention of letting him go, and Daokan suddenly appeared. I saw his hand thrust forward, and the next second, the blood drew a beautiful arc in the air, and then flew a thick. I covered his right arm, blood dripping from the wound. But I didn't show any pain. His feet continued to dance quickly, and he calmly tried to retreat. Uchiha Xiao showed a bored expression at this time. It's boring, I'd better kill you. With that said, he opened the pair of Mangekyō Sharingan. Yu Zhu Ming. The time around him stopped instantly, and Uchiha Xiao's figure flew forward. He didn't hesitate, stretched out his palm, and was about to hit Ai's heart. Don't even think about it. There was a familiar roar. Uchiha Xiao frowned, and a golden figure stood in front of Uchiha Xiao. Boom. Naruto crossed his arms and blocked Uchiha's attack. Uchiha Xiao didn't stop, he waved his fists quickly, and used exquisite physical skills on Naruto. As mentioned before, Naruto's taijutsu training was very poor. Faced with Uchiha Xiao's series of attacks, Naruto was defeated repeatedly. However, although Naruto was defeated, he still stood firmly in front of Ai. Soon, the effect of Yuzu's life ended, and the world around him started to move again. Everything that happened on the field shocked the surrounding people, and soon everyone reacted. This hand Zibo Xiao released the ability to stop time again. How come you can use the ability to stop time so quickly? Do you cool down so quickly? Quote question mark exclamation mark quote. I showed an expression that he couldn't understand. This scene made his brain a little confused. When he came to Konoha, he did not exchange information with Onoki and the others, but hurriedly confronted Uchiha Xiao, so he did not know that Uchiha Xiao had the ability to stop time. In Ai's view, Uchiha Xiao suddenly appeared in front of him without any trace, and this golden boy also suddenly appeared in front of him and blocked Uchiha Xiao's attack. Could it be that the speed of the two of them was so fast that he couldn't see clearly? But this doesn't make sense. You know, since the death of 4th Hokage Namikaze Minato, as the 4th Raikage, he has won the title of the fastest legend in the ninja world. There are ninjas in this ninja world that he can't even see clearly. This really can't be believed by him. I retreated to Onoki and others. He looked at Onoki and asked, what was that just now, an illusion? Onoki told Uchiha Xiao's time-stopping ability. When he heard that, Ai was shocked, and then he couldn't help but feel hesitant in his heart. If it weren't for that brat, I would be dead now. He looked at Naruto with a complicated expression, and then continued to ask Onoki, then what's going on with this kid? Jiraiya spoke at this time. Naruto, he is favored by the Sage of Six Paths. It may be for this reason that it makes him immune to Uchiha Xiao's Mangekyō Ai technique. Ai's face suddenly became shocked. Sage of Six Paths. Does this really exist? Jiraiya said. Lees don't know, but Naruto's strength has indeed been amazingly strengthened, and it has restrained the abilities of Uchiha Xiao's Rinnegan and Mangekyō Sharingan. I looked at Naruto, then looked at the people next to him, and said, then tell me what happened today. I need information about Uchiha Xiao. Onoki showed a helpless look, so I told you not to worry. Look, one of his arms is broken. On the battlefield, the battle between Uchiha Xiao and Naruto reached a fever pitch. Lava style. Naruto cast the Six Tails Seiken ability, and a burst of highly corrosive acid mist struck Uchiha Xiao. Uchiha Xiao put Susanoo on her body, plunged into the acid mist, and ran quickly towards Naruto. At the moment when she came out of the thick fog, Susanoo had just been corroded, and Uchiha Xiao also rushed out intact. Uchiha Xiao jumped up high and punched Naruto directly with a powerful punch. Naruto dodged and his fist made a big hole in the ground. Chapter 108. 3 months later, the 5 major countries will be defeated. Please subscribe. Shinra Tenseng. The powerful impact brought the black rod towards Naruto. Naruto rolled several times to avoid the black rod. At the same time, he still held 2 spiral shurikens in his hands. The Rasen Shuriken made a piercing sound and rushed towards Uchiha Xiao. Uchiha Xiao moved and 2 Rasen Shuriken passed by Uchiha Xiao. However, at this moment, Naruto smiled. I saw 2 spiral shurikens suddenly emitting a dazzling light, and then the 2 spiral shurikens produced a huge explosion. Boom. A dome formed by whirlwind appeared on the field, and Uchiha Xiao's figure was wrapped in it, gradually becoming invisible. Naruto did not slack off, watching everything that happened with the Rasen Shuriken seriously. The thick fog of the battle cleared, and Uchiha Xiao was unscathed. Susanoo in the third form blocked all 2 Rasen Shurikens. Uchiha Xiao looked at Naruto coldly, and Naruto also looked serious. After this encounter, Uchiha Xiao quickly came to a conclusion during the battle. All of Naruto's current strengths can almost compete with him. Even though Uchiha Xiao has relatively powerful physical skills and rich combat experience, this only gives him a slight advantage in combat. At this time, Uchiha Xiao glanced at Onoki and others. If these cage-level guys intervene again during the battle, then Uchiha Xiao really won't be able to do anything against Naruto 397. Uchiha Xiao looked at Naruto, and then the corners of his mouth curled up slightly. The power of 6 paths in you won't last long, right? Naruto looked shocked and said quickly, how did you know? Jiraiya raised his forehead and said, Naruto, don't say it. Uchiha Xiao smiled. Relying on this kind of external power to become stronger is just a false strength after all. You are not even as good as Sasuke. Hearing Uchiha Xiao talk about Sasuke, Naruto's face suddenly darkened. Then Naruto pointed at Uchiha Xiao and said enthusiastically, so what? I can finish you off before the power Grandpa's 6 paths gave me runs out. Uchiha Xiao didn't speak anymore. Naruto's current 6 paths power was almost equal to his, and with the presence of a ragtag group of people like Tsuchikage, it was indeed quite troublesome. Just then, Ina's loud voice came over. Why are you talking so much nonsense to this Uchiha? Lightning-style chakra mode. A blue shimmer appeared on Ai's body again, and the lightning-style chakra stimulated Ai's cells. Whoosh. With a quick teleportation technique, Ai appeared in front of Uchiha Xiao. However, Uchiha Xiao seemed to have expected it. He stretched out his hand and slapped Ai on the face. Snapped. Ai flew out like a cannonball and hit the ground straight. Ai was lying on the ground, struggling to stand up with pain all over his body. At this time, Uchiha Xiao's words drifted into his ears again. Trash, don't come here and interfere. Damn it. The chakra on Ai's body became even more powerful. At this moment, Onoki and the others also ran over. Onoki said earnestly, don't be so impulsive. Don't you want to lose your second arm? Seeing a few people coming over, Uchiha Xiao thought for a few times, and then spoke to Onoki's people below. Hey, you guys, let's talk. Kakashi looked at the superior Uchiha Xiao and said, now that things have happened, you have killed so many people and done so many things, what is there to talk about? Raikage also said, you killed Wooden Golem and so many of my men, and you want to escape with just a word of negotiation. Uchiha Xiao floated in the air and made a cross-legged posture. He said with a relaxed expression, don't you all love peace? Don't you want to hear my negotiation requirements? Kakashi frowned. His friends and colleagues of many years had died in the hands of this man. If it were before, he would definitely not agree. But now as Hokage, he has to consider more about the village. Although Ai was very angry, when he saw that the people around him did not speak, he looked at Uchiha Xiao angrily. Seeing that the people below did not speak, Zibo Xiao made his request. My request is very simple. Each ninja village is disbanded and the remaining tailed beasts are handed over. In this case, I can give you a chance to survive. This is my last mercy. As soon as this CBAJ words came out, everyone below suddenly fell into silence. Ai's face was almost wrinkled, and his face twisted with anger made him look particularly terrifying. What did you say? Uchihas. Onoki shook his head. What a whimsical idea. We have a powerful ninja here, and our major ninja villages have already agreed on cooperation. Do you think we will surrender easily? Uchiha Xiao said. Then you mean, as long as it's not easy, you will surrender, right? Onoki's expression changed. What do you want to do? Uchiha Xiao did not answer, but turned the conversation back to Onoki's question just now. The powerful ninja you were talking about, do you mean Uzumaki Naruto? That's a pity, his power is temporary, and my majesty. It's eternal. Everyone below was silent. Uchiha Xiao continued. I hope that after Naruto's borrowed power is used up, you can still be so stubborn. Everyone's expressions became ugly. After all, from the conversation between Uchiha Xiao and Naruto just now, it can be heard that Naruto's power is borrowed, and this borrowed power will eventually be used up. However, at this moment, Naruto stretched out his fist and pointed at Uchiha Xiao. We will never surrender. I will defeat you. Revenge the dead. Then, bring Sasuke back in person. Kakashi looked at Naruto with approval in his eyes. Onoki smiled and looked at Uchiha Xiao. Did you hear that? We will not surrender, so just go back to the Pure Land. Uchiha Xiao shook his head. Since I don't have the chance to live, then I will fulfill your death wish, and I declare here. After 3 months, I will conquer the 5 major countries. Everyone's hearts trembled, and Anamu murmured, 3 months. Uchiha Xiao continued. Just enjoy these 3 months of peace. The war in 3 months will determine the future fate of the ninja world. Because of Naruto, Uchiha Xiao has no way to deal with these people for the time being, and there is one more thing. Uchiha Xiao doesn't really care about people like Naruto now. What he cares about most now is his Rinnegan. When he got the Rinnegan just now, Uchiha Xiao felt that the strength brought by the Rinnegan was far from the highest. He wanted to study how Rinnegan could go further. If there was anything in the entire ninja world that Uchiha Xiao was very interested in, it would probably be the improvement of strength. Seeing that Uchiha Xiao was about to retreat, Onoki immediately made a dust escape with his hands. Don't even think about escaping. He thought that Uchiha Xiao wanted to delay time and drag away Naruto's power. However, at this moment, Naruto stretched out his hand to block Onoki's body. Onoki looked at Naruto in confusion. Naruto. Naruto stared at Uchiha Xiao. Although he also felt resentful, he still said, "We can't continue the fight, we can't cause more casualties." Chapter 109. Sasuke is unwilling to give in again. Please subscribe. Everyone looked around and saw that several thousand hands had killed many ninjas. At this time, there were many broken limbs and broken arms scattered on the battlefield. Many ninjas were groaning because of their serious injuries, but they could not get rescue. Feeling that Uchiha Xiao had no fighting spirit, Naruto immediately activated Shadow Clone, rushed towards the injured ninja, and used the power of Yang to heal their injuries. Everyone looked at Uchiha Xiao, and Uchiha Xiao really had no plans to fight again. Uchiha Xiao formed a seal with his hands. Bang! A burst of thick smoke dissipated, and Geto statue and Yagura disappeared. Universal pull. He stretched out his hand and activated the Rinnegan ability, and Itachi's body was sucked over by him. Soon, he also turned into a gust of wind and disappeared. Uchiha Xiao finally left, but he brought huge pain to this place. The death of the Konoha shinobi, the destruction of most of the village, and the declaration of war that would level the ninja world 3 months later. All of this made everyone present feel unhappy because of Uchiha Xiao's departure, and a huge stone seemed to hang in their hearts. Onoki murmured. As the 4th ninja war coming. Jiraiya crossed his arms. Do we really want to imitate our ancestors? Consume that guy to death. What Jiraiya was talking about was, of course, the deaths of tens of thousands of ninja allies and 4 shadows decades ago, which led to the death of Uchiha Xiao. But it is obvious that Uchiha Xiao is now more powerful than before, and there are no figures like Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara in the current ninja world. The battle 3 months later is bound to be very tragic, possibly even more tragic than the battle decades ago. Kakashi didn't say anything, but walked back to the ruins of the battlefield and began to command all ninjas to find the bodies of their dead comrades. Everyone was silent for a long time, and Gaara broke the silence. Naruto-kun, you have become a lot stronger. Naruto responded with a sunny smile. Ha ha ha, it's okay, you too Gaara, became the cage. Onoki also put aside his sad expression and looked at Naruto. Naruto is really better than his master, your strength has already defeated the 4th Hokage. Naruto scratched his head and smiled sheepishly. Really? Ha ha ha, thank you, short grandpa. This time Onoki was not angry after hearing this, but laughed and scolded. You kid. Raikage also looked at Naruto and said with some gratitude, thank you Naruto, if it weren't for you, I would be dead now. I is also a real man who dares to love and hate. In order to avenge his subordinates, he will fight to the death even if he gives up his arms. He will also sincerely express his gratitude when he is helped. Naruto gave a thumbs up and said, it's a trivial matter, uncle. I was very generous. Even when he heard Naruto giving him a nickname, he laughed it off. At this time, Naruto clenched his fist and said, although my current power belongs to Grandpa's 6 paths, I will definitely work hard to become stronger. I will definitely surpass Uchiha Xiao. Jiraiya could only be filled with joy at Naruto's bold words. Deep in the battlefield, Kakashi stood upright, with 2 medical ninjas busy in front of him. The medical ninjas carefully lifted Guy's body on a stretcher, so carefully that they were afraid that Guy's body would break into pieces. Guy's life was burned due to the opening of the 8th gate. At this time, his body was like burnt ashes. The slightest movement would cause it to break or even be blown away. 1. There was a sound of sobbing nearby. Ah. Woo woo woo. Kakashi looked over and saw Kurenai Yuhi who was in distress. Yuhi Kurenai held Asuma, who was already cold, with one hand and covered her belly with the other. Tears were streaming down her eyes. The news of her pregnancy was originally intended to be a surprise and she would tell Asuma later. The child has already become a fatherless person before he is born. How can she accept this? And this scene is just a small microcosm of this war. There were continuous cries around him. Kakashi looked at the miserable sight of all living beings. Although his tears had dried up long ago, the sadness in his heart was still unbearable. In this battle, Konoha lost a lot of ninjas. The exact number is not yet known because it is still being counted. As for 9 tails, half of them were also taken away by Uchiha Xiao. The loss of powerful people like Asuma and Guy also caused the village's strength to decline a lot. On the other hand, Uchiha Xiao not only successfully resurrected, but also used this platform to issue a declaration of war against the entire ninja world. At this time, Onoki and others also came over. Onoki looked at the tragic situation around him and sighed. Konoha, how long has it been since it was so tragic? Jiraiya said. No, in the 61 years since Konoha established the village, there has never been such a tragic situation. Onoki laughed dumbly. Yes, Konoha has always been the winner in the ninja wars. I looked at the hell-like scene around him. Even though the relationship between Cloud Shinobi and Konoha was hostile before, he couldn't help but feel sad. Moreover, Uchiha Xiao's threat was to the entire ninja world, not just limited to Konoha. Even if there were any deep grudges before, they had to put them all down at this moment. At this time, Onoki said with a serious expression, Hokage-sama, Raikage-sama, Kazekage-sama, we may not have time to rest now. In 3 months, I am afraid it will be the 4th Ninja War. Please give me flowers. Everyone nodded, their expressions very solemn. Onoki kept saying, it seems that the 5-Cage conference is going to be held. Hokage-sama, could you please inform Mizukage-sama? Kakashi nodded in agreement. On the other side, Uchiha Xiao has returned to the base at this time. Thump. A corpse was thrown on the ground, and Tsunade frowned subconsciously. Uchiha Xiao said, transplant Sasuke's eyes. After Sasuke saw the corpse, his pupils trembled violently for a few times, then he closed his eyes and said, Xiao, I said, I will kill Uchiha Itachi with my own hands. Uchiha Xiao did not directly respond to Sasuke's words, but said, I went to Konoha and saw Naruto. He has become a lot stronger. Sasuke looked shocked. What? Uchiha Xiao continued. I can't even hurt him, he's such a fast improving kid. Sasuke was even more shocked when he heard this. In Sasuke's heart, Uchiha Xiao was Ashura. Ashura who could kill all the ninjas. And Naruto couldn't even hurt Uchiha Xiao. How can it be? Uchiha Xiao kept saying. I heard that I received the power of 6 paths, a gift from the sage of 6 paths. It's great. Hearing Uchiha Xiao's words, Sasuke clenched his fists in disbelief, and there seemed to be a fire in his heart. Why every time when his strength increases, Naruto will take a big step to surpass him, why? Sage of 6 paths. Tsunade looked a little in disbelief. Isn't that a legendary character? Uchiha Xiao looked at Sasuke and thought of Naruto, who had fought him back and forth. If he remembered correctly, if Sasuke was killed now, can Sasuke also gain the power of reincarnation? At this time, Sasuke was still feeling unwilling to accept Naruto's rising strength. Suddenly, a murderous aura slowly swept into his heart. Quote exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark quote. Sasuke quickly looked at Uchiha Xiao and saw Uchiha Xiao looking at him with a murderous aura in his body. The murderous aura seemed to have condensed into a majestic ghost behind Uchiha Xiao, looking like a god and a ghost, staring at him with wide eyes. Sasuke wanted to run away, but he found that he couldn't move. Boom. Sasuke fell to his knees, sweat breaking out all over his body. Uchiha Xiao's murderous intent seemed to have turned into reality, completely obliterating Sasuke's rebellious mind. Sasuke had already decided on the death penalty for himself in his heart. Am I going to die? What a ridiculous life. Chapter 110. Black Jew invites, can Rinnegan be upgraded? Please subscribe. Suddenly, the murderous aura was instantly wiped away. Hiss. Sasuke took a sharp breath of air and felt that his body could move. He immediately put on a taijutsu posture and looked at Uchiha Xiao. His body kept rising and falling, breathing heavily, and he stared at Uchiha Xiao's face. Uchiha Xiao's face was still cold and inhumane, but it just lacked the terrifying murderous look just now. Was what just happened an illusion? Soon, Sasuke overturned this conclusion. The last time he experienced such murderous intent that was so terrifying that he couldn't move was when he faced Orochimaru in the Chunin exam, but Uchiha Xiao's was even more terrifying. Sasuke thought of the ghost and his expression suddenly became gritted. What the hell is that? Uchiha Xiao didn't know what was going on in Sasuke's mind. He had indeed had murderous intentions just now, but in the end he decided to keep Sasuke as a chess piece to use. 757. Later. Although the murderous aura just now had a big impact on Sasuke, Tsunade could still bear it. She frowned and looked at Uchiha Xiao. Have you been resurrected? Where are Dan and Naoki? After hearing Tsunade's words, Sasuke realized that Uchiha Xiao was different. The cracks on his face and black eyes were no longer there, replaced by normal skin and eyes. At this time, Tsunade is of little use to Uchiha Xiao, but Uchiha Xiao will not break promises to others, and he disdains breaking promises to others. Uchiha Xiao said. After Yagura combined with the tailed beast, although the chakra is huge, it can only barely revive me. You don't have to worry, I, Uchiha Xiao, will not break my promise. Tsunade nodded slightly. She would still believe Uchiha Xiao's promise, but she still couldn't help but feel disappointed in her heart. Every step she takes for Uchiha Xiao now is a step deeper into the abyss. She sighed and went to transplant Sasuke's eyes. Huh. Sasuke's eyes glowed green, and Tsunade was performing transplant surgery on Sasuke. Sasuke, who originally wanted to kill Itachi by himself, was so anxious when he learned that Naruto's strength had improved so rapidly that he agreed to the transplant without hesitation. Uchiha Xiao was rubbing his chin on the side, thinking about how to make his Rinnegan go further, but there seemed to be no plot about this in the plot he knew. At this moment, a strange chakra wave appeared underground, and then, a pitcher plant covering a human head emerged. After Tsunade glanced at it, she didn't care. Although she had never seen this pitcher plant, she knew that there were many secrets about Uchiha Xiao that she didn't know. Even if she is an enemy, she still has great confidence in Uchiha Xiao's strength. Black Zetsu. Uchiha Xiao looked at Black Zetsu walking slowly over and thought about the purpose of Black Zetsu's special visit. Black Zetsu immediately began to introduce himself. Hello, Uchiha Xiao, let me introduce myself first. I am Black Zetsu. I am the spiritual body born when Madara-sama first opened Rinnegan. Uchiha Xiao didn't say much when he heard this, but he knew that Black Zetsu was actually a spiritual body created by Otsutsuki Kagaya. Only people like Madara could believe this. Uchiha Xiao sat on a chair with a lazy expression. Well, what next? Black Zetsu said. I would like to invite you to collaborate. Uchiha Xiao showed a look of contempt. Uchiha Madara can't even defeat me, why should I cooperate with the spiritual body he created? Is such cooperation valuable? Black Zetsu was also stunned when he heard Uchiha Xiao's words. Uchiha Madara has a long-standing reputation in the entire ninja world. No one would say that Uchiha Madara was too weak. However, Uchiha Xiao's question made Black Zetsu unable to react. Thinking about it carefully, it is true that Black Zetsu also watched Uchiha Xiao's war back then. The terrifying strength even made him feel a little scared after living for thousands of years. How could such a person look at something that would defeat his opponent? Uchiha Xiao did have the confidence not to believe it. In this case, Black Zetsu didn't intend to be official, and went straight to the topic. Uchiha Xiao, do you want to become stronger? Uchiha Xiao looked unmotivated. If you fart, just let it go. However, he had some interest in his heart. Hearing Black Zetsu's question, could it be that this Rinnegan really can't go further? But in his heart, he will not trust Ju, because he knows that Ju is a top-notch kid who only thinks about saving his mother. Black Zetsu saves her mother, is not an exaggeration at all. Seeing this, Black Zetsu became a little serious, and then asked Uchiha Xiao, have you heard of the story of Kagaya Haim? Haha, are we about to start the induction? Zibo Xiao thought to himself. Uchiha Xiao shook his head. Black Zetsu knew that he could start cheating. He spoke. The chakra we have comes from Kagaya Ji. Later, Black Zetsu told Uchiha Xiao about Otsutsuki Kagaya. Uchiha Xiao naturally knew this, but in order to elicit Black Zetsu's words, he did not interrupt. Soon, Black Zetsu talked about the aspect that Uchiha Xiao was interested in, and Kagaya Haim's Rinnegan is also several times stronger than the ordinary Rinnegan. At this time, Black Zetsu's voice paused, and then he looked at Uchiha Xiao. What you are wondering now is that Rinnegan can't go any further, right? Uchiha Xiao nodded. It seemed that Rinnegan was indeed not that simple. It was indeed as he thought and could evolve. Black Zetsu showed a rare smile at this time. You only need to be able to summon the sacred tree, make the sacred tree bloom and bear fruit, and then eat the fruit of the sacred tree, then you can get a more powerful Rinnegan, even. Black Zetsu's voice suddenly lowered. Even better than Kagaya. Listening to Black Zetsu's words, Uchiha Xiao also started to think a little. After all, Black Zetsu's words are indeed more credible. Because he also remembered that it was because Kagaya ate the fruit that he finally transformed into the 9 Magatama Rinnegan. Uchiha Xiao thought of Kagaya's abilities, Wonquan Haraban, who can travel through space at will, and Kai no Gochu, who can transfer people around him to other spaces. Although it is a time and space ninjutsu, its flexibility and powerful functions still make Uchiha Xiao a little excited. At this time, Uchiha Xiao asked Black Zetsu, so, if I want to evolve Rinnegan, what do I need to do? When Black Zetsu heard this, he felt that this matter was going to happen. He suppressed the excitement in his heart and said, you only need to resurrect Otsutsuki Kagaya in 3.8. By then, I will let Kagaya give the fruit to you. Uchiha Xiao didn't speak, seeming to be deep in thought. At this time, Black Zetsu deliberately emphasized his tone and said, remember, Kagaya must be resurrected first before the sacred tree can be fully resurrected. Then you will gain powerful power. Uchiha Xiao looked at Black Zetsu as if he were watching a clown perform a clumsy trick in front of him. Uchiha Xiao knows the plot and knows that Black Zetsu deliberately reversed the order. It is obvious that Otsutsuki Kagaya will be resurrected after Ten Tails Jinchuriki absorbs the sacred tree. And Black Zetsu deliberately reversed the order, just to use Uchiha Xiao to resurrect Kagaya. Black Zetsu may also give Uchiha Xiao a heart-wrenching heartbreak like in the plot. Uchiha Xiao couldn't help but sneer in his heart. If he hadn't known the plot, he would have been manipulated by Black Zetsu. Chapter 111. Defeat Black Zetsu and capture 6 tails. Please subscribe. Uchiha Xiao was in a good mood. Black Zetsu's words really broadened his thinking. If he works behind closed doors, he may not be able to evolve his Rinnegan. Now that he knows how to evolve Rinnegan, Uchiha Xiao glanced at Black Zetsu. Soon, Uchiha Xiao returned to his uninterested look. Go back, I don't want to cooperate. Black Zetsu was confused at the time. Uchiha Xiao had shown some interest just now, but why did he suddenly not want to cooperate now? Is it possible that Uchiha Xiao knows some ways to eat the fruit by himself? Black Zetsu immediately said, Uchiha Xiao, only when I am here can you open the sacred tree. Only when I am here can you eat the fruit of the sacred tree. Uchiha Xiao, I'm not interested in listening to your nonsense. As he spoke, circles of lines appeared in Uchiha Xiao's eyes. Wood style. Black Zetsu realized the danger. He did not form any seals and released the ninjutsu without hesitation. In an instant, Several rows of thick wooden roots rose from the ground. Uchiha Xiao walked to the wooden root in front of him, reached out to touch the wooden root, and also activated wood style. I saw several vines suddenly sprouting from the thick wooden roots, and the vines quickly struck out and wrapped Black Zetsu's body. At this time, Uchiha Xiao's figure also appeared from the side, and the aura bursting out of him made Black Zetsu feel even more pressure. This guy really wants to kill me. Black Zetsu secretly marveled, and then he thought. Mayfly technique. Black Zetsu immediately launched his own life-saving technique. He relied on this technique to move freely in the ninja world and was able to escape safely every time. However, this time he met Uchiha Xiao. The moment Black Zetsu activated the technique, Uchiha Xiao's eyes turned bright red. Yu Zhu Ming. Everything stopped instantly. Uchiha Xiao stepped forward, reached out and grabbed Black Zetsu's pitcher plant, and lifted him up. Soon, Yuzu's life was over, and Black Zetsu found that he had not escaped, and Uchiha Xiao's black rod had been inserted into his neck. Ho ho! The black rod was inserted into Black Zetsu's vocal cords, and Black Zetsu couldn't say anything. Uchiha Xiao looked down at Black Zetsu. You are so smart, you have lived like a dog for 2,000 years, don't compare me to a fool like Madara. Listening to Uchiha Xiao's words, Black Zetsu's body squirmed, and his pale yellow eyes looked at Uchiha Xiao in shock. How does he know that I have lived for 2,000 years? Uchiha Xiao, he knows everything. Black Zetsu left this world angrily with unwillingness and longing for his mother. Uchiha Xiao stood up. Now that he knows how to make his Rinnegan stronger, everything is easy. Just follow the original plan. Let Sasuke become 10 Tails Jinchuriki, then summon the sacred tree. Uchiha Xiao eats the fruit, and awakens the 9 Magatama Rinnegan. Sasuke also finished transplanting the Sharingan at this time, and Sasuke was very excited about the nearly unlimited eye power. At this time, Sasuke also saw Black Zetsu's body. What is this? Sasuke asked. Uchiha Xiao casually replied. It's just an insect. Then he looked at Sasuke and asked. How does it feel, your brother's power? Sasuke glanced at Itachi, whose eyes were empty. His mood was very complicated, with some heart palpitations, some pleasure, some happiness of improving strength, and a trace of imperceptible sadness. Sasuke closed his eyes tightly, then opened them again. Uchiha Xiao lifted Sasuke's face, looked at Sasuke's eyes, and said with a somewhat crazy expression, as expected of us Uchiha, only Uchiha's eyes can bloom such beautiful patterns. Seeing Uchiha Xiao's appearance, Sasuke felt a little scared in his heart. This man was usually so calm and terrifying, why did he show such an expression now? Tsunade was also feeling a little uncomfortable. She ignored the two of them and packed up the medical equipment with her hands. Uchiha Xiao put down his hand holding Sasuke's face, and looked at the bright moon in the sky through the window. Not enough, not enough. Sasuke and Tsunade looked at Uchiha Xiao and saw Uchiha Xiao opening and closing her mouth and saying, not enough. Sasuke mustered up the courage to ask, what's not enough? Uchiha Xiao looked at Sasuke, his expression returned to its previous coldness, my strength is not enough. Sasuke was so frightened that he sat on the ground, and the corners of Tsunade's mouth twitched involuntarily. Your strength is not enough. What do you want to do? Fly to the moon. Uchiha Xiao ignored the performance of the two. In his heart, he truly believed that his strength was not enough. Even if the ninja world is unified, 20 years later, the Otsutsuki clan, the aliens from outside the world, will come to the ninja world. His current strength is not enough, he needs to obtain power far beyond the Otsutsuki clan. Thinking like this, Uchiha Xiao set off. You want to go out? Sasuke asked. Uchiha Xiao nodded and directly stated the purpose of the trip, catch 6 tails. Sasuke asked in confusion. I haven't asked you yet, why are you catching so many tailed beasts? Uchiha Xiao looked at Sasuke and said honestly, form 10 tails, and then let you make 10 tails Jinchuriki. Sasuke twitched the corner of his mouth. When did this Uchiha Xiao tell bad jokes? If he wanted to be the one, it must be Uchiha Xiao himself. How could it be his turn to improve his strength? In Sasuke's view, becoming a Jinchuriki is a significant improvement in strength. Uchiha Xiao didn't say anything more and disappeared in a flash. In order to obtain the 9 Magatama Rinnegan, Uchiha Xiao had to speed up the capture of the tailed beasts, and Naruto still had the chakra of 6 tails, 7 tails, and 8 tails on his body. Another purpose of his taking 6 tails is to reduce Naruto's strength. As long as 6 tails is captured, Naruto will not be able to use 6 tails abilities. 6 tails was originally the summoning beast of Mist Shinobi, but 6 tails Jinchuriki Yugao rebelled against the village. At this time, even the people of Zunian village did not know where Yugao was. However, Uchiha Xiao's intelligence network was not closed. Covered by a strong intelligence network, Uchiha Xiao quickly learned about Yugao's location, Tien Jiguo. There is no doubt that Tien country is a small country. Orochimaru built the Sound Ninja village before, which gave it some fame. However, in 730, the Sound Ninja village was destroyed by Uchiha Xiao, and the country became the small transparent country it once was. It certainly looks like a place where Yugao would come. Arriving in Tien country, Uchiha Xiao expanded the scope of his perception, and soon captured a little of Six Tails' intelligence. Whoosh! Uchiha Xiao's speed was like a gust of wind, blowing through the streets without even attracting anyone's attention. In a deep mountain in Tien country, Yu Gao was sitting on the branch of a tree. He leaned on the trunk and blew bubbles leisurely. Are you Yu Gao? A voice suddenly came from beside Yu Gao. Yu Gao was suddenly shocked. You must know that as a Jonin and tailed beasts, his perception is very good. How could it be possible that he didn't notice that someone was approaching? However, what happened was that Yu Gao's body instantly moved away from the source of the sound. The visitor did not cover up, but came directly from the dark place. Yu Gao found that the visitor was wearing black clothes, and even his pupils and hair were black. Yu Gao held the bubbler and said cautiously, "Who are you?" Mist Shinobi's pursuer. At the same time, Yu Gao was also surprised to find that Six Tails in his heart was emitting fear. This guy is actually afraid. Yu Gao cursed in his heart. Uchiha Xiao directly identified himself. I am Uchiha Xiao. Yu Gao was suddenly startled. He blew hard and the bubble device sent out a large amount of bubbles that flew towards Uchiha Xiao. Chapter 112. Pain 6 Paths Dispatches. Please subscribe. Boom. There was a violent explosion, and around the center of the explosion, trees within 100 meters collapsed, kicking up a cloud of dust. The smoke gradually dissipated, Yu Gao's body shook a few times, and finally fell to the ground. Click. Uchiha Xiao walked towards Utomi and accidentally stepped on Utomi's bubble device. He said, "It won't take much effort." Then he held Yu Gao's body against him. On the other side, inside Rain Shinobi Village. Above the tower, in the dim space, apart from the patter of rain, there were also the voices of two men talking. Have all the eye powers been restored? Obito looked at Nagato who was sitting in the wheelchair and asked. Nagato nodded. Obito immediately said, without further delay, let's resurrect Madara now. Uchiha Xiao is really too rampant. However, Nagato did not choose to listen to Obito. He shook his head and said, I can defeat Uchiha Xiao myself. When it comes to Rinnegan, I am more skilled than him. A bolt of lightning struck outside, and a strong light illuminated the dim room. 6 puppets were seen standing in the room. Obito secretly cursed Nagato as a fool. Uchiha Xiao's strength is beyond what these puppets can handle. However, Nagato insisted on having his own way. With a thought, several puppets flew out of the tower at high speed. The pens broke through the rain and ran into the distance. Uchiha Xiao was on his way back when he heard a gust of wind coming from a direction not far away, followed by a harsh roar. Uchiha Xiao shook his feet and deviated in the direction at an extremely fast speed. The next second, several rockets exploded where Uchiha Xiao was just now. Uchiha Xiao saw the format of the rockets and instantly realized that Pain 6 Paths was coming. The rocket attack just now was actually Shura Dao. His body was transformed into a machine. Not only missiles, but also his head could shoot lasers. Uchiha Xiao stopped, but found that the enemy did not show up. Uchiha Xiao launched the ninjutsu without hesitation. Fire style extinguished the fire. He opened his mouth and spit out a large amount of flames. The flames gathered into a sea of fire and swept away the dense forest. The flame became hotter and hotter, turning from red to white, and the light looked extremely dazzling. The flames dissipated, and a large area in front of them was cleared into an open space. Uchiha Xiao walked to the middle of the open space and said loudly, "Come out, rat." Soon, 6 figures jumped out and surrounded Uchiha Xiao. Uchiha Xiao looked at the pens around him. Are we going to find them so soon? Tiandao Pain spoke. I said, if you don't stop capturing tailed beasts, I will kill you. With that said, before Uchiha Xiao could speak, Tiandao stretched out his hand. Universal pull. However, Uchiha Xiao knew what Tiandao was thinking when he saw Tiandao stretching out his hand. He also stretched out his hand and also used a universal pull. Call out. The two powerful gravitational forces attack together and will attract the people on the opposite side. Originally, Pain was sure of victory, but soon he was surprised to find that Uchiha Xiao's universal pull was even stronger than his. Just when Tiandao's feet were a little off the ground and he was about to lose his strength, Shura Dao on the side stretched out his fist. There was a muffled sound, and his fist hit Uchiha Xiao like a rocket. Uchiha Xiao was not in a hurry. While confronting the heavenly Dao with the universal pull in one hand, the other hand was aimed at the Shura Dao. Shinra Tenzheng. A black rod moved forward rapidly under the push of Shinluo Tianzheng, and was inserted directly into Shura Dao's forehead. The next second, the fist and Shura Dao's figure flew out upside down. Nagato sensed it in the rear area and found that Shura Dao could not be sensed. Shura Dao is just gone. Seeing that the way of heaven was about to be sucked away, the way of life began to form seals quickly. Boom! A huge rhinoceros suddenly appeared, making a rumble with its feet on the ground, and rushed towards Uchiha Xiao. Uchiha Xiao had to stop the universal pull in his hand and teleported away from the impact of the huge rhinoceros. Is Zhu Shengdao? Uchiha Xiao looked at Zhu Shengdao. The current Zhu Shengdao was still a man, with a non-mainstream hairstyle. After the 5 figures learned Uchiha Xiao's direction, they immediately rushed towards Uchiha Xiao. Feeling that the pens were about to surround him again, Uchiha Xiao opened his mouth and spit out a stream of black smoke. Fire-style dust hidden technique. Thick black smoke ranged from aurora to irritating gas accompanied by bursts of small explosions. Although the pains were not afraid of being puppets, it really disturbed their vision. Fortunately, Kido took action. He stretched out his hand and used his power to absorb all the black smoke. At this moment, Pain discovered that Uchiha Xiao had arrived in front of Kido, holding a blue Rasengan in his hand. Hungry Kido spotted Uchiha Xiao, and at the same time stretched out his hand. Hungry Kido sealing technique suction seal. Whoosh! Rasengan shook violently for a few times, and was immediately absorbed by Kido. Hungry Kido sneered. Uchiha Xiao, your Rinnegan is not very skilled yet. However, Uchiha Xiao was not discouraged. He raised his lowered head, and the black stripes on his face made Uchiha Xiao smile even more evil. Really? Just when Hungry Kido was surprised, suddenly, Hungry Kido's body experienced a sudden change. His body kept surging, and there seemed to be something everywhere in his body that wanted to burst out of him. Apologize. Several thick old tree roots burst out from Kido's body, and all of Kido's limbs and parts were shattered and exploded. What? The Pains were shocked after receiving the information. If I read it correctly, why couldn't the Rasengan of the same style as Mr. Jiraiya's hand be sucked? Uchiha Xiao looked at the surprised expressions of the Pains and couldn't help but taunted. It seems that you are not very proficient in Rinnegan. At the same time, Uchiha Xiao secretly sighed in his heart. Hashirama's magic is quite useful. The faces of the pens were very gloomy. In less than a minute, 2 of the 6 pens had fallen. Just when Nagato was still thinking about his strategy, Uchiha Xiao took the lead. He flew forward and attacked the human path with the weakest attack power. The human world has no attack methods, it only searches memories and extracts souls. Facing Uchiha Xiao's attack, he could only raise his hands to block in embarrassment. Boom! Uchiha Xiao directly punched Tien with magic, and the arm of human world was shattered with one punch. The other pens were about to attack when they came up. Uchiha Xiao looked at Yugao who was placed not far away Nuaochins. He also lost the interest just now. I won't play with you anymore, I have something else to do. After saying that, Uchiha Xiao clapped his hands and directly released Wooden Golem Jutsu and Wooden Dragon Technique. 2 burly wood styles rise from the ground. Nagato's pupils shrank. This wood style is better than the one used by Zetsu and Dai Wang. Wooden Golem reached out and grabbed the human road, smashing it to the ground and smashing it to pieces. Wood Dragon was not to be outdone. He moved forward quickly, and wrapped up the Hell Path. The poor Hell Path was shattered by the powerful force before he could release a single ninjutsu. Soon, there were only 2 Pain left on the field, the Heavenly Way and the Animal Way. Whoosh! Uchiha Xiao flew up to Tiandao. Uchiha Xiao stared at Tiandao's eyes, which seemed to see through pain and directly saw Nagato in Rain Shinobi Village. Uchiha Xiao looked into Tiandao's eyes and said, I'll go find you after I finish dealing with 6 tails. After saying that, with a wave of his hand, Wooden Golem raised his fists and sent away all the remaining 2 pains. Chapter 113. Uchiha Xiao, Nagato. Hand over the Rinnegan. Please subscribe. From Nagato's hiding place, a dark shadow suddenly emerged. Who? Conan shouted warily. Obito appeared wearing a mask. Nagato, Uchiha Xiao, I'm afraid I'm coming to find you. Nagato's expression was also uncertain. He never thought that Uchiha Xiao would be so powerful and could wipe out all 6 Pain in such a short period of time. You know, the strength of 6 Pain can destroy a ninja village. Obito said. So it's better to resurrect Uchiha Madara as soon as possible. Nagato, time can't wait. Nagato still had a cold face. No. Nagato only has one Madara's Rinnegan in his hand. Obito can use Madara's other eye to resurrect Madara, but the problem is that the other Rinnegan is hidden by Madara. Obito was very unhappy. Without the Rinnegan, Infinite Tsukuyomi would not be able to be used. If Madara's Rinnegan was taken away by Uchiha Xiao, then Obito and Madara's plan would fail. Nagato and Conan felt Obito's murderous intent. Conan immediately stood in front of Nagato, and pieces of paper began to peel off his face, which looked particularly scary. Obito didn't speak. The only eyes exposed on the mask glowed with scarlet blood. Just when Obito was about to take action, he suddenly changed his shape. A figure came in from outside. Who? Obito turned around quickly. Because of the dimness of the room, no one could see clearly who was coming with the light source on his back. The visitor did not answer, but said to himself, 293, the Rain Tiger self-restraint technique is a pretty good technique. The cold voice made everyone present feel familiar. Boom. Thunder and lightning fell from the sky, illuminating the dark environment inside. Black hair, black clothes, handsome face and blood-red eyes. Uchiha Xiao. Nagato was very surprised. He had deployed a large-scale sensory ninjutsu in Rain Shinobi Village, Rain Tiger Free Technique. Logically speaking, everything in Rain Shinobi Village was under his control. Conan realized something was wrong at this time, and she said to Nagato, he used chakra to block the rain. Nagato took a closer look and saw a glimmer of light floating on Uchiha Xiao's body. Nagato's heart sank. He didn't expect someone as strong as Uchiha Xiao to be so cautious. You know, even Jiraiya couldn't escape the perception of this technique. Obito didn't expect Uchiha Xiao to move so quickly. While he was anxious, he could only escape into the darkness with unwillingness. He could only go to White Zetsu and ask where Madara's second Rinnegan was. Soon, there were only 3 people left on the field. Uchiha Xiao didn't care about Obito's departure. He looked at the 2 people in front of him. Conan stood in front of Nagato warily. Although she was well aware of Uchiha Xiao's terror, she still stood in front of Nagato without hesitation. CBBF. Uchiha Xiao looked around and then said the second sentence. Don't you all turn on the lights. Nagato and Conan were also stunned. They did not expect that Uchiha Xiao would ask such a question. Bah! Conan turned on the light. The rather old incandescent lamp flickered a few times, and the waxy light barely illuminated the space here. Nagato was sitting on the couch, with countless black rods inserted into his back. His entire body was as jagged as bones in a grave, and even his originally bright red hair was dull. Conan looked at this scene and couldn't help but feel sad, with a hint of sadness between his eyebrows. I'm afraid that's why Nagato didn't want to turn on the light. He didn't want Conan to see this too often. This reminds Conan of Yahiko. Uchiha Xiao went straight to the point. Nagato, hand over Rinnegan. You and I have no grudges. I will not hurt you and your friends. How does Uchiha Xiao view Nagato? To be honest, she still has some appreciation. The experiences and encounters of the two are very similar, including the death of relatives, betrayal by people they trust, and years of struggle for revenge and ideals. Unfortunately, Nagato's strength is still somewhat unsatisfactory. Although Nagato didn't feel any hostility from Uchiha Xiao, he still wouldn't hand over his Rinnegan. I saw Nagato touching the corner of his eye and said, "This eye carries Yahiko's dream, and I will not hand it over." Uchiha Xiao sighed. Is that so? Then, don't blame me for being rude. Buzz. A momentum spread from Uchiha Xiao, and soon, Nagato felt the growing pressure from Uchiha Xiao. Conan, run away. As he spoke, a black ball appeared in Nagato's hand. The black ball flew into the air and emitted a strong light instantly. For a moment, the sun and moon eclipsed, the house collapsed, and the tall building donated its bricks and flew towards the little black ball. Uchiha Xiao did not move, as if he was attracted by this strong gravitational force. Soon, Uchiha Xiao's figure disappeared in front of countless stones. His whole body was covered with cloth. The maintained Rain Tiger Freedom technique was also closed. The villagers of Rain Shinobi Village were puzzled. They looked up at the sky and saw a huge stone ball appearing in the sky. Nagato watched this scene breathlessly, and turned around to find Conan still standing here. Nagato shouted loudly, "Conan! Didn't I tell you to run away?" The sadness on Conan's face never faded. "Nagato, I don't want to experience that kind of thing again, the scene of my friend dying." Nagato couldn't help but feel ashamed when he heard this. "I'm sorry Conan, it was too loud just now, but you still have to get out of here quickly." Hasn't he been sealed? Before Conan could finish his words, the stone ball suddenly shook violently. What? Conan shouted in surprise. I saw streaks of red light shooting out from the cracks on the surface of the stone ball. Nagato frowned, and he felt the majestic chakra contained in the stone ball. Even Nagato was not at peace at this moment. There are as many chakras as there are tailed beasts at this level. At this moment, a sharp red light suddenly shot out from the stone ball, turning into a blood-red crescent moon in midair, and then dissipated. The next second, quote exclamation mark quote. There was a violent explosion in the stone ball, and a red giant was vaguely visible in the dust of the explosion. The villagers below were stunned when they saw this scene. They had no doubts about Conan's identity as an angel, and they even thought that Susanoo was the god of war sent by God. God of war. God of war. The country of rain is saved. The cheers of the people below did not affect Uchiha Xiao, who controlled Susanoo to fly towards Nagato. Nagato's expression control was out of control. He opened his mouth wide. He didn't expect that someone could actually split his planetary devastation. Conan made an evaluation of Uchiha Xiao in his mind, and the result of the evaluation was that it was far beyond the ordinary Kage level. Although I couldn't believe it, it was the fact. Susanoo slowly flew towards Nagato with the onikiri, and the gravel on his body kept falling. Uchiha Xiao looked at Nagato's slightly trembling Rinnegan and couldn't help but said, Rinnegan is just a heretic after all. In the eyes of ordinary people, Rinnegan's ability is indeed powerful, even as powerful as a god. But in Uchiha Xiao's view, the best use of Rinnegan is that it can resurrect others. Other attack methods are just icing on the cake for Uchiha Xiao and cannot play a key role. Chapter 114. Is Rinnegan strong? Please subscribe. The red Susan shook for a while, and the leaping fire gradually dissipated, and Uchiha Xiao took off the Susan coat on his body. Nagato looked at Uchiha Xiao with some confusion. I saw Uchiha Xiao saying, using Susanoo on you is still a bit wasteful. Really? Nagato's face darkened and he stretched out his arm. The planetary devastation just now made Nagato's eyes sore, but now facing a strong person like Uchiha Xiao, he had to continue to launch a fierce attack. Shinra Tenseng. Uchiha Xiao dodged the shock wave with a big jump, and the next second, several black rods came quickly. Uchiha Xiao did a spinning kick in the air, and all the black sticks were broken by him. Taking advantage of this moment, Nagato performed a summoning technique and directly summoned a giant rhinoceros and a giant lizard. Moo. The rhinoceros rushed towards Uchiha Xiao quickly, its hard horn seemed to be able to pierce everything in the world. Boom. Uchiha Xiao stretched out a finger and blocked it with a huge horn. The rhinoceros trampled on the ground hard, trying to go further, but this finger was like a magic weapon connecting the sky and the earth. The ground had been broken by the rhinoceros, but it still couldn't get in. Then, Uchiha Xiao stretched out his other hand, which turned into a fist and hit the big rhinoceros on the forehead. Boom. The figure of the big rhinoceros flew directly backwards for more than 10 meters. Moo. The big rhinoceros made a shrill cry, rolled its eyes upward, and then collapsed to the ground, dissipating into a burst of white smoke. The big lizard sticks out its tongue to attack Uchiha Xiao. Its tongue is like a cannonball, which can cause huge damage every time it strikes. However, facing Uchiha Xiao, facing the lizard's tongue, Uchiha Xiao grabbed its tongue with one hand, then grabbed the tongue and spun it in the air, and threw the lizard to the flying doctor in 10 seconds. The big lizard fell to the ground from the tower and quickly dissipated into white smoke. Conan's legs unconsciously took 2 steps back. The strength shown by Uchiha Xiao was too strong. Even though he knew that Uchiha Xiao's strength was extraordinary, he couldn't help but be surprised by how easily he defeated these 2 summoning beasts. Nagato vomited blood from his mouth. Every time he used Rinnegan's ability, it was a drain on his life force, especially when he was exhausted. Seeing Nagato's appearance, Conan frowned, and then ran to Nagato, facing Uchiha Xiao. Conan. Nagato shouted loudly, and the blood in his mouth surged out with the air flow. However, Conan acted as if she hadn't heard anything. She faced Uchiha Xiao with determination in her eyes. I must protect Nagato Kazuhiko's dream. As she spoke, a crack appeared on Conan's face, and countless pieces of paper peeled off from her face and flew throughout the space. Shiki paper dance. Separation. Conan's body quickly turned into pieces of paper and flew into the air. At the same time, a paper wheel was quickly rolling towards Uchiha Xiao. Fire-style Long Yan Sings. A ball of flames condensed into the shape of a fire dragon, directly burning up the speeding paper wheel. Another fire dragon hit Conan, but Conan used the paper clone to escape. Countless pieces of burning paper floated in the sky, and the smell of burnt paper filled everyone's nostrils. Dance of Shiki paper. Rain of paper guns. A large number of pieces of paper appeared from behind Conan, and they gathered into countless spears, pointing directly at Uchiha Lien. Uchiha Xiao stretched out his hand. He did not use Rinnegan's ability. He simply used the huge chakra to shape a chakra shield in front of him. The sharp paper gun hit the chakra shield and dissipated instantly. A large number of pieces of paper hit Uchiha Xiao like raindrops, and inevitably left a trace of blood on his face. Although he could recover quickly, Uchiha Xiao decided to be more serious. Fire style extinguish the fire. Uchiha Xiao opened his mouth and spat out, and the strong flames turned into a sea of fire and attacked Conan. Facing the overwhelming fire, Conan's face turned pale. No matter how many pieces of paper were burned by such flames. At this time, Nagato took action. He stretched out his palm and used Kito's skill. Soon, the flames as strong as the ocean were absorbed by Nagato. Just when Nagato thought the offensive was over, he saw a wind bomb hiding in the flames. After Nagato absorbed all the flames, it jumped out and killed Conan. Suck. Nagato's eyes widened and he continued to activate Kito's ability. However, at this time, Nagato discovered that the wind bomb could not be absorbed. Just when he was confused, the wind bomb suddenly exploded into a cloud of white smoke. Among the wisps of white smoke, Uchiha Xiao's figure appeared here. What? Nagato didn't expect that Uchiha Xiao would actually use such a trick. Uchiha Xiao quickly took action, grabbed Conan's neck, and then smashed him straight to the ground. Asking for flowers. Ahem. Conan spat out a mouthful of blood. Uchiha Xiao's speed was so fast that she didn't even react. Conan. Nagato yelled Conan's name with eyes wide open. Uchiha Xiao looked at Nagato, and the Sharingan turned into a Rinnegan. Uchiha Xiao said calmly, Nagato, you are too dependent on Rinnegan. These eyes are not as valuable as you think. Conan slapped Uchiha Xiao's arm, but his arm remained unmoved and extremely hard. Nagato's body kept shaking, and his clearly visible ribs kept rising and falling. Finally, he raised his head and looked at Uchiha Xiao. He opened his mouth and said, Rinnegan is the power to realize dreams, the power to carry Yahiko's dreams. Ever since Yahiko died, I have no hope for this cursed world. Only with this eye can this cursed world be reorganized. Nagato opened his mouth and spoke repeatedly, as if to tell Uchiha listen a little, but more like you are talking to yourself. Conan, who was still being strangled by Uchiha Xiao's palm, forgot about the pain at this moment. She looked at Nagato with her eyes, and 2 lines of clear tears fell from the corners of her eyes to her ears. The power to realize your dreams. Ha, but your power is too weak. A dream without strength is just a castle in the air. Uchiha Xiao said as he let go of the hand that was holding Conan's neck. Then, in order not to hinder my dream, I will let you withdraw temporarily. Uchiha Xiao said. Seeing Uchiha Xiao's actions, Nagato's pupils shrank, and he felt the strong murderous intention in Uchiha Xiao. Ha! Nagato clasped his hands together, chakra moved rapidly on his body, and a lot of blood even oozed from his eyes. Just when Conan was still wondering why Uchiha Xiao let her go, she discovered that Uchiha Xiao's figure suddenly disappeared. Bah! There was a sound of flesh being stabbed, and Conan suddenly looked back. At some point, a black rod had been inserted into Nagato's chest. Even the eye sockets were empty. Uchiha Xiao stood next to Nagato. He looked at Nagato's Rinnegan with the help of the light of the incandescent lamp. It's nothing different, Uchiha Xiao murmured. Nagato! Conan screamed. How could it be? I was fine just now. Why? Conan looked at Uchiha Xiao, his eyes filled with endless hatred. Chapter 115. Conan's Trump Card. Please subscribe. In Conan's eyes, Nagato, who was roaring with amplified moves just now, suddenly stopped, accompanied by a heartbreaking cutting sound. Chong! Nagato! Conan got up from the ground. Nagato was still breathing, opening and closing his mouth and repeating one word. Escape. But soon, Nagato also lost his life. Nagato! Conan's cold expression instantly lost control, his orange eyes trembled, and the look he looked at Uchiha Xiao was full of anger. The anger prevented Conan from analyzing what was going on, but she knew that it was Uchiha Xiao who killed Nagato. Die. Conan made a long knife out of paper. Conan held it in his hand and launched a blind thrust at Uchiha Lien. Uchiha Xiao didn't even look, he kicked Conan away with his kick, and the paper knife fell to the ground and scattered into ordinary pieces of paper. What? Do you really want to die that much? Yuji. 377, Bo Xiao said. Conan bit her lip and burst into tears. The purpose of her life was to fulfill the dreams of Yahiko and Nagato. Now that Nagato and Yahiko are dead, what power does she have to live? For a moment, Conan glared at Uchiha Xiao. Uchiha Xiao was very familiar with this look. That is the will to die, the wish to die. Boom. A powerful chakra erupted from Conan, and Uchiha Xiao got into a stance, just when he thought Conan was going to use some stunt. Shiki paper dance fly. A huge wing bloomed from Conan's back. As soon as the wings flapped, Conan flew up and then flew away into the distance. Well, I'll let you go. Uchiha Xiao, who had achieved his goal, didn't want to pay too much attention to Conan. When he looked at his trophies, he saw the two Rinnegan he had just held in his hands. There is only one left now. Interesting, Uchiha Xiao said as he looked in the direction Conan was flying. Conan, who was flying in the air, quickly formed seals with his hands. As a burst of white smoke rose, a bloody Rinnegan appeared in Conan's palm. Nagato. Very early on, Nagato asked Conan to sign a summoning contract with one of Nagato's Rinnegans to prevent people like Obito and Uchiha Xiao from snatching his eyes. If I can't rely on Rinnegan to fulfill my dream, then don't let others take this Rinnegan away. This is Nagato's idea. Nagato. Now, this technique is used. But I really think I will never use this technique in my life. Conan looked at Rinnegan lying on the palm of his hand and felt a pain in his heart. She put her eyes into a small bottle and then put it on her body. She accelerated her speed and flew towards the border of Rain Shinobi village. There is a vast sea area, and she prepared a surprise with Uchiha Xiao in that sea area. After a period of flight, she flew to the sea area. She stopped the wings on her back and waited for Uchiha Xiao's arrival. Soon, a powerful aura was coming quickly. Boom. A figure hit the sea hard, causing waves and ripples that almost splashed onto Conan's body. Uchiha Xiao did not take action. He stood on the sea and looked at Conan with interest. Without another word, Conan took the lead and launched the attack. Paper shuriken, Conan thought, and the huge paper shuriken cut through the air and rushed towards Uchiha Xiao like an overwhelming force. Susanoo. Uchiha Xiao's eyes glowed red, and the second form of Susanoo immediately formed. Da 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 da. Countless paper shurikens were instantly deflated when they touched Susanoo. In front of Susanoo, a giant with extremely high defense, paper shurikens are undoubtedly out of reach. Uchiha Xiao crossed his arms and watched this scene. At this moment, his Sharingan turned quickly, and he noticed that there were some detonating charms hidden in the massive paper shurikens. Outside, Conan's open palm quickly squeezed. Explode. Boom. Thick smoke and fire quickly covered Susanoo, but it was not over yet. More detonating symbols appeared from the bottom of the sea, and then formed a detonating symbol tornado, trapping Uchiha Xiao inside. Boom. 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 The successive explosions caused a crack in Uchiha Xiao's Susan. It seems that Conan has started to stockpile detonating charms now. I just don't know how many he has stored now, and whether it is enough for 600 billion. Uchiha Xiao thought about it while having a countermeasure in mind. Water-style water wave. I saw Uchiha Xiao making a few simple seals with his hands. The next second, the sea water under his feet began to fluctuate, and a huge waterspout began to rise. The next second, the waterspout carried the detonating talisman and slammed it towards another piece of water. What? Conan didn't know that Kaoru Uchiha actually had such attainments in water style. But she had no choice but to detonate the detonating talisman as soon as possible. Most of the detonating talisman was washed away by Uchiha Xiao's water wave. Boom. Boom. There was a sporadic sound of explosions coming from Susanna's body, which made Conan's face darken. Obviously, such an attack could not harm Uchiha Xiao. A hole was torn open in the heavy rain curtain, and a sword energy blew towards Conan. Conan used his wings to fly upward, dodging the blow. However, at this moment, a sharp sword energy suddenly condensed in the air not far away, which was no different from the power of the blow just now. What? Conan immediately condensed the pieces of paper and made a paper shield in front of him. However, this paper shield was too fragile after all, or the power of the sword energy was simply too strong. The sword energy scraped through the paper shield and towards Uchiha Xiao as if there was no obstruction at all. Hang! The sword energy struck Conan. Drink! Conan screamed and flew backwards, spitting out blood from her mouth. The blood dripped into the sea and was quickly diluted in it. She stared at Uchiha Xiao, who frequently used strange skills. She knew that if she didn't use that move, she would never be able to make a comeback. A fireball flew like a grenade. Conan turned into a ball of paper flowers and flew into the air, and then immediately turned into a human form. She opened her hands suddenly. If she hadn't known that Conan didn't have a Rinnegan, Uchiha Xiao would have mistakenly thought that she was going to use the Shinra Tensei. Conan looked at Uchiha Xiao, as if she were looking at a dead person, and slowly said the name of the technique in her mouth. God's paper technique. Soon, Uchiha Xiao felt something was wrong. The sea, which originally had only a few waves, suddenly seemed to become violent. Uchiha Xiao probed his senses into the sea, and then his face changed slightly. He felt a very strong chakra fluctuation on the seabed. The ocean beneath his feet suddenly trembled. Conan waved his hands. In an instant, the tremors of the ocean became even more violent, as if a monstrous tsunami was about to set off. Uchiha Xiao looked at the soles of her feet and saw a long line between her feet. Looking along the line, she saw that this line seemed to be endless. There was another violent shaking, and the two lines suddenly separated. Uchiha Xiao's feet were empty and he fell directly. Moses. Uchiha Xiao thought of a character in her heart. This scene is like Moses opening the sea, dividing the sea into two sides. Uchiha Xiao fell into the sea. He was not panicked, but looked at the cut facades of the sea on both sides. Seeing this, even though she had seen it in anime before, Uchiha Xiao couldn't help but be speechless. Countless detonating symbols are densely packed on the surface of the sea, and you can take a quick look at them. The detonating symbols stretch as far as the eye can see. Chapter 116. 600 billion detonating talisman. Please subscribe. 600 billion detonating talismans. Conan's cold voice sounded. Conan maintained the hand seal gesture with his hands, and his cold face became extremely terrifying. Originally, this move was reserved for the masked man, but now it seems that he is not lucky enough to bear it. Uchiha Xiao was also shocked. According to the original plot, Conan's battle with Obito would be pushed to more than 2 years later. He didn't expect that the detonating talisman would be ready so early. Conan thought of Uchiha Xiao's trick before, killing Nagato with a ghost-like and strange method. Conan murmured. 600 billion detonating talismans can explode continuously for 10 minutes. I wonder if you can escape with your methods. Uchiha Xiao thinks that Yu Zuming is not powerful enough to escape these 600 billion detonating talismans, and 5 seconds is not enough for him to escape from this sea area. If he really only used Yuzu's life, then Uchiha Xiao would indeed perish here. But Uchiha Xiao naturally did not intend to resist this move. He remained still and closed his eyes tightly, and then a black pattern climbed up his face. Ha! Conan waved his hands, then shouted loudly. Soon, the detonating talisman on the cut surface began to burst into flames. Uchiha Xiao opened his eyes and looked at the chaotic sea of 21 detonating talismans. Uchiha Xiao did not panic. Boom, boom, boom. A series of explosions appeared on the sea, and the flames of the explosions even shot straight into the sky, and the smoke even caused the entire sea area to be covered with a thick barrier. The rumble caused by the explosion spread far away, and even all the villagers in Rain Shinobi village heard it. Conan controlled the explosion of the detonating talisman, and her face became increasingly ugly. She could clearly feel that the chakra on her body was rapidly decreasing. 10 minutes later, although the explosion on the sea surface was much weaker than before, it still continued. Boom. The villagers couldn't help but complain when they heard the rumbling sound coming from the distance. The thunder is really frequent today. I thought we would finally have a sunny day, but looking at the thunder, I thought there was going to be another heavy rain. I don't know where Lord Angel has gone. As the smoke filled the sky, Conan knelt on the sea panting, the paper flower on his head teetering on the edge. Conan murmured. The god paper technique has dissipated. I didn't expect that it actually consumed so much chakra. That guy should be dead. Conan looked at the smoke-filled sea surface. As the sea breeze blew, the gunpowder quickly dissipated. However, what he saw shocked Conan. No, impossible. A huge Buddha appeared in Conan's eyes, and the surface of the Buddha was tattered and charred due to the explosion of the detonating talisman. And inside one of the wounds, a red light emerged. A huge red arm stretched out, followed by armor, a Karasu Tengu mask, and Uchiha Xiao standing condescendingly on Susanna's head. Conan was extremely shocked. You must know that these are 600 billion detonating talismans. In the 61 years since the establishment of Ninja Village, the detonating charms used by ninjas are probably less than a fraction of 600 billion, right? Susanoo disappeared, and Uchiha Xiao walked towards Conan. It's a good technique, even true several thousand hands was broken. Conan was slumped on the ground at this time, as if she had not heard Uchiha Xiao's words. Now she has no chakra, no fighting spirit, and no more dreams. Seeing Conan's absent-minded look, Uchiha Xiao reached out and snatched the Rinnegan that Conan was holding. Whoosh! A black stick appeared in Uchiha Xiao's hand. Putting the black stick against Conan's neck, Uchiha Xiao said, "Go over there and tell Nagato that I will give peace to this ninja world with supreme deterrence." Just when Uchiha Xiao was about to send the black rod into Conan's neck. Whoosh! The black stick in Uchiha Xiao's hand quickly changed direction and hit him behind. Behind him stood a masked man, reaching out to grab the Rinnegan in Uchiha Xiao's hand. The black rod passed through Obito's mask without causing any damage. After knowing that he was discovered by Uchiha Xiao, Obito did not attack, but flew behind him with a few jumps, because he knew that Uchiha Xiao understood his weakness and he could not make any rash advances. At this moment, two figures flew from a short distance and landed next to King Dai. Uchiha Xiao took a closer look and saw that it was Hidan and Kakuzu, the zombie duo of the Akatsuki organization. Hidan said to Obito, "Hey, Madara, did you do something to feel sorry for Conan? The fight just now was no joke." Obito just said in a deep voice, "It's just the weak's dying counterattack." Hidan was sweating coldly. Weak person. If I encounter such an explosion, I don't know if the evil god will favor me again. Kakuzu didn't say anything. He had just watched the battle from a distance. He thought it was impossible to survive such an explosion. Not to mention his current 5 hearts, 50 hearts might not be able to withstand it. Of course, the most terrifying thing is Uchiha Xiao. He was able to withstand such an explosion. Uchiha Xiao's bounty was so high that it would never be counted in his lifetime. Kakuzu was originally very excited about this, but he finally calmed down at this moment. Seeing Obito coming over to make people disgusting again, Uchiha shouted to the band from a distance. "Obito, do you want to die? I just let you off the hook, and now I'm getting close to you again." Conan behind him finally showed an expression at this time. This masked man is called Obito. Conan was confused about Obito's identity from the beginning. One moment he said he was Uchiha Madara, then he became Madara's assistant, and now he is Uchiha Obito. It was precisely due to the unknown and fear of Obito's identity that Conan prepared 600 billion detonating charms early. 427. Obito, didn't you say you were Madara? Hidan walked up to Obito and asked loudly. Kakuzu did not speak, but also cast doubtful eyes on Obito. Obito paused and said, "Obito is my nickname." Hidan was stunned and looked at Kakuzu. "Is that so? Kakuzu. How do I know?" Kakuzu said without seeming to care. Then Hidan laughed very loudly. "Ha ha ha ha, your nickname is too stupid. The current Madara sounds better. Don't you think so, Kakuzu?" "Earth. Bring." Kakuzu said nothing, but his doubts about the identity of the king still increased in his heart. He is a person who has experienced the strength of the ninja god First Hokage. Will the person who can be equal to First Hokage be this timid masked man? On the contrary, if that person is Uchiha Madara, he will still believe it. Thinking this, Kakuzu looked at the majestic Uchiha Xiao. Obito also stared at Uchiha Xiao closely, feeling a little troubled. The last time Uchiha Xiao got Rinnegan, it had already plunged the Akatsuki organization into a crisis of trust. If Uchiha Xiao tells all his secrets at once, his personality will be untenable, and it is not impossible that the entire Akatsuki organization will fall apart. Obito looked at the Rinnegan in Uchiha Xiao's hand. It looks like a quick victory is coming. Chapter 117. The Immortal Duo. Please subscribe. When Uchiha Xiao saw that Obito was silent, he clicked his tongue, ignored Conan, and rushed towards Obito and others alone. Fire style. Impatience claw red. I saw Uchiha Xiao leaping high and then spitting out several huge fireballs. The size of the fireball far exceeded that of ordinary fireballs, and missiles blasted towards the 3 of them. Kakuzu stepped forward and put his hands on the sea. Water style water curtain tent. At the same time, Kakuzu secretly felt in his heart that Uchiha Xiao was nothing more than that. He dared to use fire style in a place with so much water vapor. It was really stupid. The fireball quickly extinguished on the water curtain. Just when Kakuzu was feeling quite complacent, the water curtain suddenly tore open several holes. What? Bah, bah, bah. I saw 3 shurikens suddenly emerging from the water curtain and hitting Kakuzu in the shape of a pin. Blood rushed out, and Kakuzu even took a few steps back. Everyone instantly understood that the flame just now was a feint attack, and the shuriken in the flame was the real killing move. And don't forget, Uchiha Xiao's divine power is comparable to that of Senju Hashirama. The power and speed of shurikens under this divine power are top-notch. Wind, the heart of the wind attribute is broken. Kakuzu covered the bleeding place with a horrified expression. He finally accepted his contempt for Uchiha Xiao. Just a single shuriken attack could make him suffer so much, but what if he did it for real? To put it bluntly, Kakuzu has been a little discouraged. Why Kakuzu can live for so long, in addition to the reason of the earth resentment use secret technique, another reason is that he pursues the creed of running away if he can't fight. But Uchiha Xiao didn't give him a chance to escape. Uchiha Xiao had already attacked quickly. He stepped on the water with his legs and rushed towards Obito and others like an ice skate. Within a few seconds, he was in front of Obito. The fist wrapped in a whirlwind and hit Obito. Obito used the hollow to avoid the attack. Uchiha Xiao put one hand on the sea, and then stabbed Kakuzu with one leg. Kakuzu's pupils shrank. Am I the target? Kakuzu immediately used defensive ninjutsu. Earth style hardened. Boom. There was a muffled sound, and Kakuzu took a few steps back. At 2h at carat at plus. He used the earth style to stiffen his arms, but the sheer strength didn't shock him. After the hardening was completed, Kakuzu shook his numb arm, and then secretly activated the chakra. Then a black line suddenly emerged from the arm. Thanks to the entanglement of the black thread, Kakuzu's fist hit Uchiha Xiao like a rocket. Uchiha Xiao was not afraid and stretched out his palm to slap Kakuzu's fist away. Kakuzu quickly retracted his fist with a surprised look on his face. His strength was actually quite strong. In decades, he had never seen anyone punch him away purely with his physical body. Uchiha Xiao is the first. At this time, Uchiha Xiao said, "Isn't it you?" Kakuzu looked shocked. He didn't expect that Uchiha Xiao actually knew this secret technique. Uchiha Xiao said calmly, "The top secret ninjutsu of Takigakure village unexpectedly fell on the head of an unknown person." Hidan mocked from the side. "Ha ha ha, Kakuzu. He said you are a nobody." "Shut up." With that said, the lightning-style mask emerged from Kakuzu's chest and sprayed out a bolt of lightning towards Uchiha Lien. Uchiha Xiao dodged the lightning, but Kakuzu was not done yet. He controlled the lightning to conduct electricity from the sea water to Uchiha Xiao. Have a taste of thunder and lightning. However, the radiant thunder and lightning approached Uchiha Xiao, but Uchiha Lien did not respond. What? Kakuzu was very surprised. Uchiha Xiao raised his feet, and he had already condensed earth-style chakra on the soles. Uchiha Xiao said, "I guess your earth resentment you has all 5 escape techniques, right? After all, this is how you can restrain most ninjas in the ninja world." Kakuzu was horrified and was afraid of Uchiha Xiao's meticulous calculation. At this time, Obito was also deeply aware of Uchiha Xiao's difficulty, and immediately said to Hidan, "You come too. Don't watch the show here." Hidan had no choice but to stand up from the ground, taking the 3-stage scythe on his shoulder in his hand. He looked at Uchiha Xiao and showed a bloody smile. "The evil god must be very interested in your blood." Facing Shura, the former ninja world, Hidan didn't have a trace of fear in his heart, but instead had unlimited fighting spirit. Uchiha Xiao also looked at Hidan. He still had a lot of impressions of Hidan in his heart. Although Hidan's IQ is not very high, he is indeed a master of individual techniques, and even Uchiha Xiao found the death move based on blood troublesome. But Uchiha Xiao is confident that Hidan can't touch him. Kakuzu struck again. His lightning-style mask began to fire continuously, and powerful thunder and lightning shot towards Uchiha Xiao. Uchiha Xiao's figure is very flexible, and he can avoid the lightning with a few dodges, and by the way, he also shortens the distance with Kakuzu. When Uchiha Xiao was about to punch Kakuzu hard. Whoosh! A strong blast of air came from his ears. Uchiha Xiao immediately stabilized his body, and then fell backwards. Hidan's scythe failed. When the sickle flew back, Hidan threw the sickle out again. The sickle roared, rolling like a wheel and cutting towards Uchiha Xiao. Uchiha Xiao took out the black stick, looked at the rolling sickle with his Sharingan, then took the black stick and inserted it accurately into the corner of the sickle. Dang! There was a crisp sound, and the rolling sickle was made by Uchiha with a black stick. Uchiha Xiao immediately grabbed the handle of the sickle and was about to take the sickle over. "Are you kidding me?" Hidan said as he grabbed the chain tied to the sickle and tried to pull the sickle back. Even though Hidan's strength is not small, how could Hidan be able to compete with Uchiha Xiao's divine power? The veins in his arms bulged, and his whole body was pulled forward uncontrollably. If the ninja world held a tug-of-war competition now, Uchiha Xiao would definitely be the first financially. Obito hurriedly shouted in front of Hidan, "Hidan, let go." However, Hidan didn't know why he was going crazy, but he shouted, "I won't let go." As if the sickle was his lifeblood. The next second, pulled by Uchiha Xiao's divine power, Hidan's body immediately flew towards Uchiha Xiao. Whoosh! A black stick emerged from Uchiha Xiao's sleeve and was aimed at the place where Hidan was about to fly over. Bah! The black rod was inserted into Hidan's heart accurately. Uchiha Xiao squeezed the black rod and twisted it hard. "Ah! It really hurts, Shura of the ninja world," Hidan said, and then spit out a mouthful of blood. Hidan felt both pain and pleasure at this time. At this time, he saw Uchiha Xiao's hand holding the black stick close at hand, and he opened his mouth to bite it. Uchiha Xiao quickly retracted his hand, and if Hidan bit him, it would be a bit troublesome for him. Chapter 118. Want to sacrifice Uchiha Xiao to the evil god? Please subscribe. Hidan was kicked away with one kick. Hidan was like a stone tossed in the water, bouncing on the sea surface several times before stopping. Hidan wanted to get up, but he felt pain all over his body, so he could only crawl to Kakuzu's feet. Kakuzu, my neck is broken. Kakuzu sighed, picked up Hidan with one hand, and then straightened Hidan's neck back. Uchiha Xiao put Hidan's scythe on his shoulder and yawned. Obito, I can understand you coming here to seek death. What are you doing with two useless people? Are you insulting me? Hearing Uchiha Xiao's words, the zombie duo instantly became unhappy. Hidan, who had just recovered, immediately shouted, just wait for me, Uchiha Xiao, I will sacrifice you to the evil god. However, Uchiha Xiao did not reply, but looked at Hidan with contempt. Hidan was so angry at this look that he would have rushed over if Obito hadn't been there. Obito said in a deep voice, Uchiha Xiao, Nagato's Rinnegan is the property of the Xiao organization. Please return the Rinnegan. Hearing that it was the Rinnegan, Kakuzu immediately looked sideways at Obito. When he and Hidan were ordered to come, they didn't say it was to fight for the Rinnegan, but, well, Rinnegan. There was a hint of greed in Kakuzu's eyes. Let's not talk about how big a wave a legendary thing like the Rinnegan can make if placed on the black market. The ability shown by Leader Pain alone. It was enough for Kakuzu to force Yan. Hidan has no interest in Rinnegan, he just wants to get his scythe back. Uchiha Xiao smiled and said, your property. Haha, you really have the nerve to say 647, Obito, I hope Lin can also see your greedy and ugly side. Obito's face suddenly changed, and the scarlet Sharingan stared at Uchiha Lien. Hidan's anger seemed to disappear all of a sudden. He looked at Obito curiously. Madara, who is Lin, your lover? Obito didn't speak. Although he was wearing a mask, the gloomy aura that erupted from his body still made Hidan shut his mouth in amusement. You two, come on. Be careful, don't hurt his eyes. Obito gave the order in a calm voice, making it difficult to hear the emotion or anger. The figures of Hidan and Kakuzu galloped towards Uchiha Xiao. Obito looked at Uchiha Xiao with an uncertain expression under the mask. He couldn't help but wonder in his heart, Uchiha Xiao, how much do you really know? Hidan and Kakuzu looked at Uchiha Xiao, both of them were full of fighting spirit. Hidan was motivated by anger, and Kakuzu was motivated by greed, both of them burst out with even more powerful power than before. The corners of Uchiha Xiao's lips raised slightly. Come on, you losers. Kakuzu held out two masks. Water-style water dragon bomb technique. Lightning-style fake dark. One thunder and one water. Two combination ninjutsus are combined. The mighty water dragon is covered with bright electric light, and the momentum is very powerful. Uchiha Xiao looked at the powerful water dragon. He did not dodge, but stretched out his hand. Hungry Kido sealing jutsu seal. The powerful water dragon flew in front of Uchiha Xiao, and Kakuzu looked excited. With such a blow, he didn't believe that Uchiha Xiao would not be injured. However, the water dragon flew in front of Uchiha Xiao's palm, as if there was a powerful vortex. The water dragon actually spun a few times, then got directly into Uchiha Xiao's hand and disappeared. What? Kakuzu exclaimed. Uchiha Xiao smiled. Sharingan had been replaced by Rinnegan at some point. Kakuzu secretly thought that something was wrong. He knew very little about Rinnegan's information. Uchiha Xiao knew that in order to pretend to be mysterious and maintain intelligence, Pain had been showing off to Rinnegan in front of the Akatsuki members for more than 10 years, but none of the Akatsuki members knew the specific history of Rinnegan. Under such a gap in intelligence, coupled with Uchiha Xiao's terrifying strength, the possibility of the immortal duo trying to kill Uchiha Xiao is infinitely close to zero. For this guy without a weapon, Uchiha Xiao directly picked up the sickle and used his divine power to cut Hidan into pieces. Although Hidan is immortal, every time he was cut into pieces before, Kakuzu would use his skillful needlework to sew Hidan's body back together. But now, Kakuzu has no power to fight back against Uchiha Xiao, and has no time to take care of Hidan, who is already in pieces. Kakuzu, save me quickly. Sew me up quickly. A piece of my flesh has sunk to the bottom. Hidan let out a desperate roar. He felt that today's battle was very frustrating. Not a single knife hit Uchiha Xiao, but Uchiha Xiao was killed by him. Small grinding and beating. When had he ever been so angry? Kakuzu was helpless when he heard Hidan's words. It would be very difficult for him to escape now, let alone save Hidan. Seeing that the situation is getting more and more difficult, Kakuzu knows that he will die if he doesn't try harder. Kakuzu pulled down the high collar of Huion robe and exposed his mouth, CBCD, and an indescribable black thread came out of his mouth. Soon, the black lines formed 4 masked monsters. 4 monsters stood in front, their mouths shining with the 4 elements of thunder, fire, water and earth. Kakuzu formed the Chen seal with his hands, playing the role of wind style. Earth resentment you the ultimate critical hit. Boom. The 5 elements merged into one, condensed into a powerful chakra cannon, and roared towards Uchiha Xiao. Wherever the chakra cannon passed, Bursts of white smoke appeared on the water, and a lot of seawater was evaporated by the chakra cannon. Well done. Uchiha Xiao's eyes glowed red, and a red giant rose from the ground. Boom. A huge wave arose on the sea surface, and Susanoo's figure was covered. Kakuzu watched this scene nervously, hoping that the attack would defeat Susanoo. The huge waves have fallen, and the red giant is still in the water box. Uchiha Xiao smiled evilly. It's a good blow, the armor was broken a lot. Kakuzu looked at the huge Susanoo and felt a strong sense of powerlessness in his heart. Just like 60 years ago, when facing the first Hokage. Obito did not fight Uchiha Xiao, but saw a peaceful sea. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he might not have believed the shocking explosion that had just occurred here, the cracking sea surface, and the overwhelming number of detonating symbols. It's just the weak's dying counterattack. Although Obito said this just now, Obito's heart was far from as calm as he showed. If he had really suffered this blow just now, he would have died long ago. Even if he had the hollow ability could only last for a few minutes, but the explosion just now. But it lasted for a full 10 minutes. At this time, Obito looked at Conan, who was recovering chakra, with murderous intent in his eyes. Conan was sitting on the water panting at this time. He looked at Uchiha, who was fighting in the distance not far away. He struggled to stand up with his injured body and prepared to escape. Although she was ready to die just now, if there was a glimmer of life, she would still hold on to it. Feeling that the chakra on his body is almost there, Conan's chakra begins to mobilize. Shiki paper dance fly. 2 holy wings sprouted from Conan's back, and they flapped vigorously. The sea below also rippled, and Conan's feet began to leave the ground quickly. Obito watched Conan's flying figure, but in the end he didn't make a move. He is afraid of Conan's detonating talisman. If it is not kept intact, when will Conan get hundreds of billions more? Moreover, Obito looked at the battlefield not far away. I saw Uchiha Xiao controlling Susanoo, who pinched Kakuzu and kept slapping the sea surface. And Hidan, there is still a piece of minced meat floating on the sea, but I don't know how much is left. Obito looked at Conan, who was stumbling in the air. If he pursues Conan now, the Nagato Rinnegan in Uchiha Xiao's hand may fly away. It's clear which one is worth killing, Conan or Rinnegan. With this thought in mind, Obito ran towards Uchiha Xiao. Chapter 119. Throwing a kunai 800 meters away. Please subscribe. Obito rushed towards Uchiha Xiao. He quickly formed seals with his hands and released ninjutsu on Susanoo. Fire style. Explosive wind dance. Kamui's appearance brought out a strong vortex, and combined with Obito's fire style, a powerful fire snake shot at Uchiha Xiao. Boom. The strong explosion caused Uchiha Xiao's Susan to take a few steps back. Not to be outdone, Kakuzu saw the fire style masked ghost next to him stand up and spit out a fire style shot at Susanoo, and Kakuzu also blew a wind style shot at the same time. Composite ninja technique. Flame wind and waves. The fierce fire carried the hurricane and struck Susan with great force. Bang. There was another huge explosion, followed by 3 pieces of thick black smoke. Taking advantage of the black smoke, Obito directed Kakuzu, so Hidan. With that said, Obito walked in front of Uchiha Xiao and confronted him. Kakuzu looked at the mutilated Hidan, he sighed and said to Hidan. You have to pay more. If Hidan hadn't been chopped into pieces, he would have spit on Kakuzu directly, but there was nothing he could do. He needed Kakuzu's help now. Hidan nodded. Kakuzu's sad face felt better now. Kakuzu's technique is also very skillful, and he can sew up Hidan in just 3 strokes. Boom. Susanoo's Onikiri cut a huge gully in the sea, and a 10-meter-long wave surged out, splashing on the faces of Kakuzu and Hidan. Obito, on the other hand, used his elusive figure to dodge. Kakuzu watched the battle between Obito and Uchiha Xiao, and he sighed. Uchiha Xiao is still as strong as ever. Hidan asked curiously, have you seen him before? Kakuzu said. Of course, I also played against him. There was a hint of pride in his tone. Hearing this, not only Hidan was surprised, but even the king was a little surprised. With Uchiha Xiao's strength, Kakuzu can still survive in a fight with him. Is it possible that Kakuzu still has some trump cards that he hasn't brought out yet? Obito thought in his mind. Uchiha Xiao also seemed to recognize Kakuzu. Oh, it's you. Obito's eyes widened, wanting to hear Uchiha Xiao tell some of Kakuzu's trump cards. Uchiha Xiao said with a mocking look on his face. You threw a shuriken at me from 800 meters away. I also admire my memory for being able to remember it. Obito was also a little speechless. Fortunately, he thought Kakuzu had any other special skills. Throwing a shuriken from 800 meters away was also called fighting. Kakuzu looked embarrassed. He immediately changed the subject and looked at Hidan coldly. Are you okay? Remember to pay. Hidan immediately put on a bad face. I know, old man. Hidan stood up and shook his body. He looked at the missing pieces of meat on his belly and back, and felt angry inside. Seeing Uchiha Xiao showing off his power with his sickle again, Hidan, who had just been chopped into pieces by a random knife, was furious again and was about to rush towards Uchiha Xiao with both feet. Hey, you kid. Kakuzu used his tentacles to grab Hidan's body back. Kakuzu, let me go. I'm going to sacrifice this bastard. Hidan shouted wildly. Kakuzu was very irritated. If you are torn into pieces again, no matter how much money you give me, I will not sew it up for you. Hearing what Kakuzu said, Hidan had no choice but to sit on the ground bored. According to the plan, if he doesn't have a sickle and can't take the initiative to obtain other people's blood, then he can only stay where he is and try not to cause trouble to the organization. Although Hidan's physical skills, strength and speed are all superior, he can't help but think that Uchiha Xiao has a Gundam. No matter how hard your fist is, can you blow up a Gundam? Hidan knew he couldn't, so he had to sit bored on the sea and watch the battle. Kakuzu turned his attention to Uchiha Xiao, and then made eye contact with Obito. I saw Kakuzu's masked monsters coming out again, lights with various attributes flashing in their mouths. Their plan is actually very simple. As long as they get some blood out of Uchiha Xiao, they can arrange for Hidan to come out and harvest the heads. Of course, the premise is that Uchiha can be beaten to bleed. Earthly resentment. The ultimate critical hit. The 5 elements of chakra gathered together, bursting out a powerful chakra, turning into an extremely strong laser wave and shooting towards Uchiha Xiao. Uchiha Xiao thought, and the Susanoo on his body changed into the second form. The laser shot at Susan's body, bursting out with a dazzling light. Susanoo shook violently for a while. Although some cracks appeared on the front end, the laser was finally blocked. However, when the laser slowly dissipated, Uchiha Xiao discovered that the figure of the troublemaker disappeared. Whoosh! Uchiha Xiao turned around suddenly and saw an orange mask already appearing in front of her eyes. Yu Zhu Ming. Time stopped instantly. Uchiha Xiao took out the black stick and pointed it directly at Obito's chest. Whoosh! Please give me flowers. A pleasant sound broke through the air, and the black stick failed. Uchiha Xiao was a little dumbfounded. He originally thought that Obito had entered an offensive state, so he activated Yu Zhu Ming. It doesn't seem to be the case now, and as long as time stops, Obito's hollow ability will always be on. That being the case, Uchiha Xiao's figure flashed quickly and ran towards Kakuzu. Soon, the pressure combination was over. Roar ah ah ah. Several monster-like roars occurred. Everyone looked over and saw that all Kakuzu's monsters fell to the ground, and the strange masks on their faces were already broken. When Kakuzu vomited blood from his mouth. His own life was connected to these 4 masked monsters. As long as the masked monsters died, Kakuzu's life would come to an end. 0. Uchiha Xiao said slowly. You should be lucky to yourself. Lucky that you only dared to throw a shuriken at me 60 years ago, otherwise how could you be a slutty person like you? Listening to Uchiha Xiao's words, Kakuzu's expression changed whether he was surprised or angry, and finally sank to the bottom of the sea. Hidan picked up the scythe that had just been dropped by Uchiha Xiao. When he found it, he excitedly shouted to Kakuzu, ha ha ha. Thank you Kakuzu. Before you die, you did a good deed. Obito moved away from Uchiha Xiao with a cautious look. The move just now was too weird. In Obito's eyes, Uchiha Xiao and Susanoo disappeared together. Uchiha Xiao's figure appeared next to Kakuzu's monsters, and those monsters also died inexplicably. Obito covered his head. He suspected that his memory had been maliciously intercepted. Otherwise, why would such a strange scene happen? Could it be an illusion? But what is the meaning of such an illusion? At this moment, Hidan let out a strange scream, ran forward with both feet, and attacked Uchiha Xiao. In this regard, Obito rarely stopped him. Ever since Kakuzu died, Obito knew that his plan would not work. In this case, it is better to use Hidan's stupidity to let Hidan withstand Uchiha Xiao's attack, and he can use this to obtain more information. Obito let Hidan move forward, and he looked at it with an indifferent expression. He wanted to know what the move was just now. Who? Hidan waved the bloody 3-stage scythe and uttered crazy words like a madman. Uchiha Xiao. Just use your blood to sacrifice my flesh and blood and the evil god. Chapter 120. Immortal. What about burning to ashes? Please subscribe. The sickle flew quickly. Uchiha Xiao turned his head and dodged, and the sharp blade passed by Uchiha Xiao's face. Uchiha Xiao smelled the smell of blood. Even after being washed away by seawater, the bloody smell of the bloody scythe still remains. Even Uchiha Xiao can't imagine how many people Hidan killed with this scythe. Crack. A sharp thunder, accompanied by a strong purple light appeared in Uchiha Xiao's hand. Purple electricity. A dazzling purple light bloomed in Uchiha Xiao's hand. The power of this purple electricity developed by Kakashi is really good. The purple electricity quickly spread outward, and the powerful current suddenly made Hidan's figure suddenly fill the room. Taking this opportunity, the purple electricity in Uchiha Xiao's hand turned into the shape of a blade. Purple lightning blade kill. The intense purple light turned into a burst of bright sword light, cutting Hidan's body in half. However, Hidan laughed loudly. Ha ha ha, Uchiha Xiao. You can't kill me. 850. I am favored by the evil god and am immortal. Uchiha Xiao felt the strange aura on Hidan's body and knew that Hidan's words were true. Uchiha Xiao said slowly, if I burn you to ashes, how should you respond? As he spoke, Uchiha Xiao's hands quickly formed seals. Before Hidan could react to Uchiha Xiao's words, firelight had already emerged from Uchiha Xiao's mouth. Fire-style Fire Dragon Flame Bomb. A huge flame appeared in front of Hidan. The shape of the flame spread its teeth and claws, dancing like a violent dragon. Hidan also didn't expect Uchiha Xiao's seal formation to be so fast. He couldn't even react when he saw the flames. Ah! Thick flames burned on Hidan's body, and Hidan let out a shrill scream. However, Uchiha Xiao is far from finished with this. He continues to add chakra to fire style. Soon, the red flame began to turn into an extremely high-temperature white flame. If a fish swims next to Uchiha Xiao at this time, it will definitely be steamed, because Uchiha Xiao's fire style has already boiled the surrounding seawater. Originally, Hidan didn't care about Uchiha Xiao's fire style. It's not like he hasn't been exposed to fire style in normal times. With his physical fitness, he can quickly heal the burned skin. However, this time his enemy is no ordinary person. Feeling the temperature rise, Hidan frowned subconsciously, and then placed the scythe in front of him. However, what happened in the next second made him unbelievable. No, it's impossible. Hidan looked at the three-stage scythe in his hand, and saw that his scythe had begun to melt, and part of it had even turned into molten iron, dripping into the sea bit by bit. Hidan wanted to roar, but his vocal cords had been burned by Uchiha Xiao. At this time, Hidan found that his hands had begun to melt. Evil, Lord Evil God, save me. Hidan prayed to the evil god in his heart, but the evil god seemed unable to respond to his pleas, or in other words, the evil god could not help Hidan. He wanted to escape, but his melted bones could no longer support his actions. Hidan turned his head and looked at Obito. His eyes no longer had the madness before, but only all kinds of pleading. However, Obito seemed not to notice, watching with cold eyes as Hidan's body was reduced to ashes bit by bit. Bah! The high-temperature bones sank to the bottom of the sea, making a sound of evaporation. Obito looked at this scene and once again refreshed his assessment of Uchiha Xiao's combat power. Hidan and Kakuzu, who were known as immortal, could not last more than 20 minutes under Uchiha Xiao's hands. Obito has completely abandoned the Akatsuki organization in his heart. Under Uchiha Xiao, the Akatsuki organization no longer exists, and the only remaining one, Uchiha Itachi, turned out to be a spy for Konoha. Uchiha Xiao looked at Obito calmly. Uchiha Obito, do you have any other tricks? I can help you with them. Obito activated Kamui instantly. In the distorted picture, he stared at Uchiha Xiao's figure, and finally he closed his eyes. Obito began to sigh in his heart. He should find a way to resurrect Madara. Today's operation was a complete failure. Uchiha Xiao doesn't care about Obito's actions. Even if Obito resurrects Madara, it will be of little use. During his lifetime, he was able to seriously injure Uchiha Madara under the siege of tens of thousands of ninja coalition forces. Now, he also believes that his strength is far superior to Uchiha Madara. Are there 3 months left? Uchiha Xiao looked up at the sky. In 3 months, he would have a decisive battle with the 5 great powers. 2. And he must turn Sasuke into 10 Tails Jinchuriki within these 3 months, thereby eating the fruit of the sacred tree, and then unifying the ninja world. But the problem is that Naruto's half of the tailed beast is difficult to deal with. If things were done, he would have more than 20 years to prepare for the Otsutsuki clan's attack. Naruto suddenly gained the power of 6 paths, which Uchiha Xiao did not expect, so his original plan was quickly shortened. It seems that we need to speed up the capture of tailed beasts. Uchiha Xiao said, and at this time, there was a sudden noise from the sky. A majestic eagle fluttered its wings from a distance. The eagle landed on Uchiha Xiao's arm and spoke, Master Xiao. Now the 5 major countries are preparing to hold a meeting of the 5 shadows. The location is in the Kingdom of Iron. The topic seems to be about you, Master Xiao. Hearing this, Uchiha Xiao was not surprised, but instead showed a rather bored expression. You are so free, and you are still holding the 5-cage conference. If there is only one powerful leader in the ninja world, there will be no need for such a cumbersome procedure. The eagle didn't speak. It didn't understand what Uchiha Leon's theory was. At this time, Uchiha Xiao continued to ask, what's going on over there at the base? Eagle Kaido. Sasuke has successfully transplanted the eternal Mangekyō. According to Tsunade, it will take about 3 days before Sasuke can open the eternal Mangekyō. It's okay. At this time, Uchiha Xiao could still accept it. He raised his arms and flew into the air without any effort. Facing the flying eagle, Uchiha Xiao said, go to the venue of the 5 Shadows Conference. The eagle roared, then turned its head and flew quickly in the other direction. Wow! The waves crashed against the shore, and the wind blew from the sea to the land. Uchiha Xiao looked at the calm sea around him. It didn't look like there had been a war at all. As long as there is an unfathomable power like the sea, all the 5.8 old order and evil in the ninja world can be washed away. Uchiha Xiao murmured in his mouth, then moved his body and disappeared. Uchiha Xiao was very fast, and it didn't take long for him to return to the base. At this time, Sasuke's eyes were covered with thick bandages. Uchiha Xiao walked up to Sasuke and asked, How do you feel? Sasuke, who was getting familiar with the blind person's perspective, was suddenly surprised when he heard the voice and knew it was Uchiha Dai. Even though he was used to Uchiha Xiao's power, he was still very shocked. With the eternal Mangekyō, Sasuke thought that his perception ability could already perceive everything. But when Uchiha Xiao appeared next to him, he didn't even notice it. This man, even walking, is silent and silent. Sasuke immediately replied, "It's okay." After saying that, he immediately asked Xiao, "Xiao, after having the eternal Mangekyō, am I stronger than Naruto?"